Ding! Awesomeness Express +10. It's you? Mo Yuxiang was taken aback. Wasn't this the young lad who was drag racing with young Master D's car on Millstone Mountain? What was his name? Right. Yi Yunji, Yi Yunxi's big brother. So he was playing the other male lead role. Even if it were you. The same goes. We will not take the male lead role. The Yan Kingdom encourages a military spirit. What's with this acting? They were members of the Sword of the Empire. Acting in a film was a shame to their families. Did I talk to you? Yi Yunxi glanced at Mo Yuxiang arrogantly. Clearly, he was a hooligan, yet there was a captivating boldness about the lad that was excessively frightening to observe. Not to mention, this lad was rather attractive. There was a sort of bad boy attractiveness about him. Ding! Awesomeness Express +10. Having been verbally attacked, Mo Yuxiang was morose. Fine, young lad, just you wait. Not talking to me? You'll be in grave trouble once young Master D starts talking to you. Young Master D, this film, Di Junxi eyed Yi Yunxi with some amusement. The same look he had on his face that other night, with scrutiny and then some humor. Mo Yuxiang's heart sank. An odd feeling told him, it wasn't good. True enough, Di Junxi slowly stood up, placing one hand on the door frame so that his shadow fell onto Yi Yunxi. His icy cold presence enveloped her, crushing her like a mountain so that she could hardly breathe. If it's you, I'll take the role. That's right, you said you wouldn't take the role. Wah. What, you're taking it? This was more horrifying than the news of Armageddon. The lofty young Master Di Junxi was acting in a film? Furthermore, with this sort of unknown director and cast, a small production without a single presentable actor. No way, young Master D. This sort of low-cost production is simply not befitting of your status. There's no payment. Yi Yunxi smiled satisfactorily. It looked like the man was willing to yield to the condition of the contract. As long as it's you, it's fine. Mo Yuxiang fell into grave silence. He must be dreaming. No pay, work for nothing. Young Master D, come on, let's go home, time for your medicine. Mo Yuxiang was ready to pass out at any moment. However, Di Junxi smiled pleasantly and said, I hope your sister remembers the deal we made. Contract. Fiancé. To be Di Junxi's woman for 3 years. The man narrowed his eyes and stared intently at the overshadowed youth. I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you have an agreement, then I hope it will not cause my sister any inconvenience. Yi Yunxi stared back at him aggressively. Didn't she state it from the start that they were not to let her family know about their agreement? This person was making this remark right in her face. At the moment, she was Yi Yunji. True enough, men or whatever, they can't be trusted. Ha, Di Junxi smiled. His bony fingers reached out to straighten her collar for a moment. His fingertips brushed against her ivory skin, sending electric waves of extreme temptation through her. There was a difference in height between the two of them, and Yi Yunxi saw everything clearly. Embarrassed, she quickly pushed him away and said, Dad, could you distribute the script? The exams will be over in a few days. We can start filming during the holidays. Oh, all right. Yi Junpo was in a stupor, and now he snapped back to the present. My God, this man had such an imposing manner, and Yunxi actually faced up to him. If it were him, his legs would have turned to jelly. Yuxiang, hold this. Let's go. Before he turned to go, Di Junxi glanced at Yi Yunxi and said, You, send me off. Fine. Mo Yuxiang took the script. Yi Yunxi followed behind. Everyone in the room still felt like they were in a dream. My God, Director Yi, where did you get those two great dashing men? This film is so going to be a big hit, just this face. For sure, it would be so hot it would set Mars on fire. Ding! Awesomeness Express +10. Ding! Awesomeness Express +10. Ding! Awesomeness Express +10. Ding! Awesomeness Express +10. Congratulations, great host, for successfully completing the task. Start film. Awesomeness Express received. +1000. Physical strength +10. She felt a subtle filling in her body. Yi Yunxi flexed her biceps. Honestly, 10 points weren't much, but at least she was no longer as helpless as a chick. She didn't mind a few more missions. This way, her physical strength would rise aggressively, and she'd be at her peak once again. Di Junxi did not say a single word as Yi Yunxi walked him to the car. Before he drove away, he turned to glance at Yi Yunxi and said, "You have no wish to rejoin your main family line?" They, as the direct descendants, had been ousted from the family, and a branch of the lineage had now become powerful. Had this family given up just like that? Had they planned to go into movie making instead? Yi Yunxi smiled and looked down at the icily handsome man with her hand on the car roof. "We will return as the successor of the family." She was the heir in earnest, not anyone else. She was making this film for her father, and for 10 points of physical strength. The exam was at hand, and she was confident she could deal with a few blows. Di Junxi narrowed his eyes and looked at her intently. He continued, "Tell your sister I'll be picking her up from school every day from tomorrow evening onwards." It was time to fulfill the duties of their contract. All right, fine. It was hard enough convincing him to take on the male lead role. Yi Yunxi turned and strolled back to her apartment. When the people had left and she had changed her clothes, she realized there was an unexpected guest in the house. It was Butler Wen, one of Granddad Yi Jianxing's trusted few. "Little miss, little master." Yi Yunxi raised an eyebrow and looked towards her father. Yi Junpo had a rather stiff expression in his face, and the room's atmosphere was awkward. Butler Wen was expressionless and held out an envelope, saying, "This is the invitation for the banquet. The successor of the clan will be announced after the exams. It is Old Master's instruction that all the children are to attend." Yi Junpo's expression turned ugly. "I will not attend." Everyone in the Yi family knew of his fallout with the Old Master. And to go back there, whatever for? The successor would not be him for sure, and much less, Yunji or Yunxi. It would be a joke for them, ousted members of the main family lineage, to return. Butler Wen said in his lukewarm tone, "Master, you are Old Master's only son. You should understand Old Master's wishes." His wishes? His wish is to deprive me of everything and have me live life the way he intends? I couldn't even have the woman I love. Why would all these other things mean anything to me? Yi Junpo was furious. Yi Yunji lowered his head. Only Yi Yunxi was looking towards Butler Zeng. Her eyes were burning. She had never seen her own mother and didn't know who she was. At least her big brother did. Rumor had it that it was Granddad who separated them. The Old Master did it for the family. To hell with his family. He's the head of the household, not me. Yi Junpo's eyes had reddened. He was shaking with anger. Butler Wen couldn't help but frown. The Old Master was such a courageous person. How did he end up with such an ignorant son? Seeing that the situation was becoming quite tense, Yi Yunxi smiled and walked over to her father. She placed her hand on his shoulder to comfort him. "Yunxi," Yi Junpo looked up at his daughter and felt tears forming in his eyes. "Butler Wen, we will go." Yunxi. Yi Yunxi smiled and tried to appease her father. "Dad, you're the son of the head of the clan and will always be." Hence, there was nothing for them to fear. They would go with their heads held high. Ding! Successfully triggered plot task. War of the Successor. Reward. Awesomeness EXP 10,000, Physical Strength 20. At this time, the atmosphere of the Emperor's family seemed to be a little bad. The old man sat on the sofa with an ugly face. He had also checked the family background of the girl, and it was exactly as the little girl said. How could such a girl be worthy of his grandson? You should have a limit if you want to joke. A pile of information was thrown on the high-end coffee table, but Di Junxi didn't even look at it. He just got up. 3 years. I will use 3 years to make her worthy of me. 3 years? The old man was annoyed. Junxi, be careful, after 3 years, you might have made wedding clothes for others for nothing. By then the Yi family would have risen up, and the girl might kick you away. There may be a time when you would have to cry. Hearing this, Di Junxi pouted the corners of his mouth calmly, and his handsome face evoked a little enchanting look. Is there a better man than me? You. Di Wei didn't know what to say anymore. Although what he said was the truth, He really did not like this girl very much. There were so many excellent girls in Yan Kingdom, why was he so optimistic about her? If you look at the academic performance, her cultural class was not worth it. She even took the second to last position in the military exercise. And lastly, she was a member of the Yi family. This family looked like a waste. He didn't believe that in 3 years, this girl could grow into a woman worthy of his family's emperor. The hardware was not good, and even if you upgrade it later, it would still be useless. Battle of the Heirs? Yi Yunxi rubbed her chin and thought about wanting to snatch the heir position from Yi Wanting. Anyway, the character attribute had been unlocked, so inherit the style of the previous life and strive to be the first. At lunchtime, Yi Yunxi took Wang Tingting and Sun Chao to find a corner in the cafeteria and sat down. Healy and Moxie also joined them. What are you talking about? The way to get admitted to Zhenyao. Huh? Healy and Moxie looked at Yi Yunxi dumbfounded. Yunxi, will you teach them? Yeah. Yi Yunxi brought out Zhenyao's exam papers from a few years ago and spread it on the table. According to my experience, Zhenyao's annual tactical questions consist of 4 categories, which are rotated every 4 years. Several people stared at Yi Yunxi stunned. Yi Yunxi gave them another surprise. Yunxi, do you really understand the exam pattern of Zhenyao? Wang Tingting looked surprised. I already said, you help me film, and I'll help you get into Zhenyao. Yi Yunxi pushed the exam questions. So you just need to do more exam papers from previous years. Zhenyao, is it so good for cracking the exam? Sun Chao thought it was a little incredible. If he could get into Zhenyao by just relying on previous year's exam questions, wouldn't it mean that a lot of people could be admitted to Zhenyao? The questions are different, but the formula is the same. The reason why entering Zhenyao is difficult is because the military test is difficult. Yi Yunxi recalled the previous situation when she took Zhenyao's test. Military exam? Wasn't it just the exam paper? Yi Yunxi laughed. What you think is too simple? Zhenyao's test, there has to be team cooperation. What is the test? Yi Yunxi shrugged. You should follow me when the time comes. Follow you? Wang Tingting and Sun Chao looked at each other. Follow you, can it really work? That's Zhenyao's exam? And Yi Yunxi, does she really have that ability? I believe in Yunxi, I'll follow you. Only Healy and Moxie firmly took Yi Yunxi's side. This was her good sister, if she didn't believe her, who should she believe? Wang Tingting and Sun Chao looked at each other and seemed to have no other choice. Otherwise, Zhenyao really won't think much about their current achievements. For the remaining 2 days, just to the questions as I said. After making the plan, the several talents left. Sun Chao, what were you doing with that trash? Someone asked subconsciously. On hearing this, Sun Chao frowned. It's not trash, it's Yi Yunxi, we are making a review plan. Review plan? What review plan? That too with that trash? She definitely won't pass the test. Hey, don't get too close to her. Be careful before she pushes you into the ditch. I know what I'm doing. My goal is Zhenyao. Wen Yan and several people laughed loudly. Zhenyao? If you work hard, and that too with Yi Yunxi, that's really. They would definitely hit the streets. Hey, let's go. Sun Chao must have been brainwashed by that trash. He won't be able to pass the test. There will be a time when he cries. That's it. Who can't find that trash? She was kicked out by the Yi family. Is Sun Chao crazy? The giggling voice got farther and farther, but it made Sun Chao extremely angry. He must be admitted to Zhenyao and show these people. After a few days of intense study, the exam came. Zhenyao's exam was a national unified exam. When the exam paper was handed out, Sun Chao only glanced at it, and the whole person was stunned. These assessment questions were almost indistinguishable from Yi Yunxi's assessment questions. And the last tactical question was indeed a coordinated operation of the 3 armies of the sea, land and air. Oh my god, he could do it all. Sun Chao's hands trembled a little. For the first time in his life, he suddenly understood what it was like to know everything. That's how it felt to win by lying down. Super cool. Yunxi, you are really awesome. Ding. Awesomeness Express +10. The same situation happened to Wang Tingting and Healy and Moxie. They were so excited when they saw the exam paper. They tried their best to answer the questions while admiring Yi Yunxi. Ha ha ha. Exam deity. It's all right, that's what it feels like. Cool to death. Yunxi. I love you. Ah, ding. Awesomeness Express +10. Ding. Awesomeness Express +10. While most people were still thinking about it, the group of 3 who were close to Yi Yunxi had already written almost half of it. They must have worked so hard. This sentence popped into everyone's head. This year's questions were not easy. Could they really get into Zhenyao? While they were distressed, someone around them started to submit the papers. Everyone raised their heads subconsciously. Sun Chao and Wang Tingting turned in the papers. How else can you say that Yi Yunxi is not trash? How can you submit papers so early? Did you finally find that you couldn't answer all of them? While laughing, Yi Yunxi also handed in the papers, and the 3 walked out of the classroom. Yunxi, the military exam is tomorrow. Wang Tingting was a little nervous. There should be no problem with today's test paper, but in tomorrow's test, Yunxi didn't know what would be tested, so she was very nervous. Don't worry, tomorrow's exam, do whatever you are good at. Wasn't that a military test? Could they use their skills at will? I'm good at spending a lot of money. Sun Chao twitched the corners of his mouth silently. Is this okay? Okay, you can bring some more cash tomorrow, Sun Chao. Hey, Yunxi, you are not joking, right? This works too. What to do with the money? Bribe the examiner, you will be disqualified from the exam. Yi Yunxi, there was a voice of gnashing of teeth behind her. She didn't need to look to know how angry this person was. Yi Yunxi laughed, turned around slowly, and stared at the person with her arms crossed against her chest. Yi Wanting stood in front of her leaning on crutches, her pretty face almost grim. If I were you, I wouldn't come to take the exam, it would be a shame. A waste even came to take Zhenyao's exam. Did she think she could pass the exam? The level of Zhenyao was tailored for her Yi Wanting. Trash should roll into the corner, go to trash school. Why shouldn't I come? Yi Yunxi curled the corners of her mouth, deliberately looking at Yi Wanting, and tsked. Even the last one in the military exercise is here. How can I be embarrassed by the last one? Yi Wanting's face suddenly changed. She could have won the first place in this military exercise, but if it weren't for this waste, she would at least not have won the last place. Moreover, this bastard dared to humiliate her now. Shut up. Let me tell you, the military exercise was just an accident. Don't think you're very good, and you want to turn over from trash after being driven out of your house. You can't turn over in your life? Yi Wanting humiliated her fiercely, and even Wang Tingting and Sun Chao couldn't listen to it anymore. Today's Yi Wanting really didn't know how to restrain herself, and she was more arrogant than ever before. Yi Wanting, don't be too excessive. Wang Tingting couldn't bear it any longer. Excessive? In this world, the weak eat the strong. I am strong, and you are weak, so you have to let me make you suffer. Yi Wanting's arrogant words made several people very unhappy, and this feeling of suffocation stimulated everyone's nerves. Whatever it was, we should endure it. Who do you think you are? When angry, Yi Yunxi walked over slowly and stood beside Yi Wanting with a provocative smile on the corner of her mouth. What? Yi Wanting was very impatient. Did this waste still want to find fault? It's nothing, I just did the math for you. Yi Yunxi's eyes became darker, and the smile on the corner of her mouth was suppressed a little. Then she pretended to be mysterious and pinched her fingers, feeling very emotional. I calculated, you will never be able to get into Zhenyao in your life. Yi Yunxi, Yi Wanting cried out angrily. This waste, even cursed her for not being able to get into Zhenyao. If it weren't for the fact that her legs were not in good shape, she would definitely rip the face of this waste. I figured it out, Yi Yunxi sneered and stared at Yi Wanting's face distorted by anger. Within half a month, you will get out of the Yi family home. Ding! Awesomeness Express +10. The system screamed in excitement. Although a new mission was triggered, the host started to provoke others even before the mission started, which was inexplicably super cool. So, no matter what, he had to give her some Awesomeness Express. You Yi Wanting laughed angrily. She felt that she had heard the funniest joke in the world. Get out of the Yi family home? She was one of the heirs appointed by the grandfather. Even if all the people with the right of inheritance in the Yi family got out of the family, it would not be her Yi Wanting. You don't want to believe it? Then we'll wait and see. Yi Yanxi waved to Wang Tingting and the others. Let's go. She didn't have time to play with someone who was destined to be a bereaved dog. Wanting, this waste is getting more and more arrogant. Yi Zhongwen stared coldly at the backs of Yi Yanxi in her group. She seems to be clinging to someone incredible. How many people can she know? I think she's going to heaven now. Yi Wanting gritted her teeth in hatred. If she didn't fight for 3 days, she had the courage to go to the house and uncover the tiles. Trash or something should be cleaned up by nature. At the gate of the school, the luxury car arrived as scheduled. The man still maintained his original posture, leaning indifferently against the door, as he lowered his head and smoked. His posture was very casual, and his smoking action was also very lazy, but his bones revealed a cold and strong force that couldn't be ignored. Yanxi, that person is here again. Although she didn't know who this person was, she had seen him several times at the school gate, and every time this person came to Yi Yanxi. Well, go back first, and remember to prepare what you are good at tomorrow. What he was good at? Money. Yanxi, are you sure? There was still some hesitation in his heart, but seeing Yi Yanxi's confident appearance, the several people could only nod their heads and leave. Sun Chao was very depressed. Did he really have to bring a suitcase of cash? Did he make a mistake? You're on time. This time, Yi Yanxi opened the car door and sat in. Di Zhengxi spit out a smoke ring, glanced at the fair face reflected in the rear-view mirror with blurred eyes, rubbed the butt of the cigarette with his fingers, slowly opened the door, and sat in. Where to? Yi Yanxi took the cigarette from the man's fingertips and threw it out the window. The emperor glanced at her lazily, then reached out and pinched her tender white cheek. Go to a place where you can become my fiancé, Yi Yanxi. Was it the Civil Affairs Bureau? The car drove out instantly, and at the school gate, Yi Zhongwen and Yi Wanting looked at the vanishing car, their eyes slightly heavy. That was the person you're talking about. Yeah. Yi Zhongwen nodded. The person who can drive that kind of car is definitely not an ordinary person, right? Ordinary people could afford a luxury car of tens of millions, but they would absolutely be reluctant to modify it. But this man treated a car worth tens of millions as a car of hundreds of thousands, and just changed it like that. It could be seen that this person's identity was definitely not ordinary. Bitch! Yi Wanting scolded. It turned out that she had hooked up with an unknown man, thinking that she could get the inheritance back. An unclean and unself-loving mistress. The Yi family won't want her. Yi Wanting sneered. By the way, wasn't there a family reunion recently? At that time, she will talk about this in front of all the clansmen, and see who will get out of the Yi family in the end. That's what you were talking about. Yi Yanxi was a little confused. Because this was not the Civil Affairs Bureau, but a shopping mall. A little disappointed not to get the certificate? Di Zhengxi hooked the corner of his mouth in a good mood. Disappointed, you big bastard. What are we doing here? She frowned slightly. Goddess transformation? Transformation? Before she could figure out what was going on, the two went directly to a top-level salon on the top floor. Hello sir, what do you need? Di Zhengxi sat on the sofa. His long legs overlapped, and his dark eyes glanced lazily at Yi Yanxi's figure. In 3 days, teach her all the etiquettes of upper class and society. Was this the so-called goddess's great transformation? Yi Yanxi was speechless for a while. However, after being a soldier for a long time, it was not bad to learn something from the upper class. She smiled and looked at the trainer. It won't take 3 days, just tonight. Ding! Awesomeness Express +10. The trainer was going to vomit blood. You may not be able to learn well in 3 days. It would be nice if she could learn to sit in one position. Did she really think that the etiquette of the upper class was easy to learn? Dear, if you don't have your eyes right, you should go out. Understand. I understand how you want to integrate into the upper class as soon as possible, but the etiquette of the upper class is really not easy to learn. Girl, it is better to be more reserved. The trainer obviously regarded her as a girl who wanted to become a phoenix by climbing on a high branch, so she felt that both her attitude and her face were ugly. She even subconsciously glanced at Di Junxi and continued. Since you have exhausted your efforts to climb to this point, can't you have a few more days of patience? Yi Yanxi sighed. Did this person have a brain problem? That's how you waste the time of the guests. What? Who is wasting the time of the guests? I said one night is one night. Are you crazy to make money? You. The trainer was very speechless. Voila. The Phoenix girl has such a face. It's really disgusting. She deliberately looked at Di Junxi but saw a faint smile on the corner of the man's mouth, as his dark eyes looked lazily at her. Under his arrogance, he didn't mean to be angry at all. This gentleman, the trainer also wanted to persuade Emperor Junxi. Etiquette was something that could not be learned even in few months. However, Di Junxi didn't want to listen to her nonsense at all. You don't understand what she said. The trainer was stunned for a moment. She didn't expect this person to say that. If you don't understand, change to someone who can understand. The indifferent tone, domineering and powerful attitude, and even the coldness between the eyebrows made the trainer's face hot. She glared at Yi Yanxi fiercely, but she could only hold back her breath and say, then let's start. There are too many etiquettes. Since you want to learn it in one night, then I can only teach it just once. She was being kind. It was really disgusting that this Phoenix girl was still being like this. It should have started a long time ago. Yi Yanxi laughed. Her eyes were lazy, as if she didn't care, and she showed a bit of arrogance, and the trainer looked at her with itchy teeth. How crazy, she will only teach everything once. Let's see if this Phoenix girl can learn it. The trainer snorted coldly and taught all the details from the standing posture, to the walking posture, sitting posture, eating, drinking tea, saying hello, and even wearing clothes and jewelry. When she was done, she looked at Yi Yanxi proudly, and deliberately waited to see her become a joke. You want me to repeat? Yi Yanxi laughed, standing under the spotlight, then in the blink of an eye, her momentum changed. Was she still a student? With a tall figure and a straight back, the girl looked elegant and generous. Not only had she learned everything the trainer had taught, but more importantly, the trainer didn't know if it was because she was too beautiful or because she was too strong. In short, she looked more dazzling than the trainer. If one had to describe it, if the trainer's movements were like beautiful jade, then Yi Yanxi was a jade that had been meticulously carved and polished, that was brilliant and dazzling in an instant. The trainer was stunned. She had never seen anyone who could exude such a lofty aura. It felt as if they had compared all the splendid salons. Even the man on the sofa looked eclipsed. However, what shocked her the most was that Yi Yanxi did not make a single mistake from the beginning to the end, and she did a better job than her. Ding! Awesomeness Express +10, was there a mistake? Was this really just beginner level? Did something go wrong? Was this really just beginner level? Ding! Awesomeness XP +10. And she only taught it once, that too non-stop. Did she meet a prodigy? Ding! Awesomeness XP +10. What kind of memory did she have? Ding! Awesomeness XP +10. Every time the trainer was shocked, Yi Yanxi got 10 more points. The system secretly rubbed its fingers on the side. The host is great, and she actually played it 10 times, ha ha ha. This trainer must have fallen for you now. It is definitely the rhythm of kneeling down. There's no need for kneeling and worshipping. Yi Yanxi hooked the corners of her mouth until she completed the last movement standardly, maintaining a proud posture with her chin slightly tucked in. She walked slowly to the trainer to help her close her jaw, and indifferently said, "Your skills are good and your teaching is good, but there is one thing wrong." Yi Yanxi hooked her little finger. "Your little finger is too stiff. It is a bit hypocritical. Normally it is good to be casual. Basically it is not too big an issue." Yi Yanxi made a gesture of holding something. Her little finger was curled slightly elegantly. The posture was lazy and casual, but full of extravagance. You, the trainer was speechless in shock. What did this mean? This person obviously understood the etiquette of the upper class, so why did she come to learn? And she had to say it at the end, wasn't she born to slap faces? Don't thank me, I will thank you, my head. The trainer was going crazy. What kind of guests are these people? Since she knew how to do it, why bother to train? Moreover, she was not a phoenix girl or something, couldn't she say it earlier? Damn it. The trainer was going crazy. But the system couldn't help laughing. The host is amazing, well done. This trainer was going to explode with rage. Hey, don't you speak rudely to our host. Even this system has surrendered, you have to kneel. Seeing that the trainer's face was flushed, and she couldn't say a word, Yi Yanxi hooked the corner of her mouth, lightly brushed her hair, turned her head and left. Eldest young master, let's go. Di Junxia's smile became even bigger. This little thing was really a master who didn't suffer anywhere. Have you learned it before? The emperor asked lazily. The petite woman paused in her footsteps and turned back with a chuckle. Her beautiful face was splendid and gorgeous, and her black eyes evoked a gorgeous light that made people unable to look away. You seem to have forgotten that Yi Jia was once a member of the Sword of the Empire. It was not like she had never been in the upper social circle. Wasn't this something worth learning? What purpose do you have? Why don't you just say it clearly? She turned around slowly, her arms folded under her chest, making her breasts look even fuller. Di Junxi curled the corners of his mouth, paused slightly, his thin lips pressed against her pink ears, and he said word by word, the rules of the emperor's family are that the fiancé must see the parents. So, you're afraid of me embarrassing you, so that is why you brought me here for learning etiquette. Yi Yanxi hooked the corner of her mouth. Don't worry, there is a contract. I will definitely let you have more face. Seeing her full of confidence, Di Junxi subconsciously hooked the corner of his mouth. This girl was the most dazzling and splendid existence no matter how he looked at her. The poor little white lotus. Sorry, his Emperor Xie didn't like delicate flowers, he liked wild roses with thorns. Then next week, I'll come pick you up. He was looking forward to seeing how Yi Yanxi would conquer the audience at the family banquet. Next week, that was after the Zhenyao exam. Yi Yanxi went home to make up for some sleep, and did not continue with her morning exercise for the first time. Yanxi, you didn't train in the morning today? Yi Yunji changed into a sports suit, pressed his legs and twisted his waist at the door, eager to try. God, he could feel his whole body full of power. So, why did Yanxi suddenly stop running? Today is Zhenyao's exam, therefore, I'm saving some physical strength. Zhenyao? Yi Yunji was full of energy. Really? The cultural exam has been completed? So today is the actual combat simulation test? Don't worry, Zhenyao is not a military academy after all. It won't be too difficult, don't be nervous, don't be nervous. The more Yi Yunji said, the more nervous he became, and after a while, he was sweating profusely. Brother, why are you nervous? Am I nervous? Am I nervous? No. I'll do my best, let's go. With a wave of her hand, Yi Yanxi turned and left. The test site was located in the downtown gymnasium, where all the candidates had gathered. A teacher-like person held a microphone and said, "Welcome everyone, you are here to participate in Zhenyao's actual combat mock test. Today's test content is very simple. You are to divide in groups of 5. We have put 5 suspicious people in the southern suburbs, and only one of them is a drug dealer. Your test question is to catch this drug dealer. Our examiners will observe your actions secretly. Even if you don't catch the drug dealer, if there are any remarkable actions in the competition, it can also be used as a bonus item. It starts at midnight, and everyone must return here before 5 o'clock in the evening. The rule is that there are no rules, until someone is caught. Then, the exam begins. Disband." Hearing this, the students quickly found suitable teammates. As for Yi Yanxi, well, such a famous trash, of course no one wanted to be with her. On the other hand, Healy and Moxie came first and followed Yi Yanxi's team, and then Wang Tingting and Sun Chao also came one after another. Look, there are actually people who are in a team with that trash. I guess they really have no team, right? That would be miserable. These people are definitely the same as that trash, the rhythm of hanging properly. However, this time it seems to be a group of 5. If they don't have enough people, will they be eliminated directly? The laughter grew louder and louder. Everyone was actually watching the fun. Hey, is there one person missing from your team? Then can I join? A grinning boy came out of the crowd. He was very handsome, with blonde hair and looked very cheerful. My name is Fang Yu, from Nanching College. Few people from our school come to take the test for Zhenyao. It's really depressing that there are not enough people in the group. But you happen to be missing one. Although we don't know each other from before. But now we know each other. Right? Ha ha. Can I join your group? Fang Yu opened his mouth and managed to get the 3 people in the team to cover their ears. So noisy. Only the remaining Yi Yunqi seemed to be unaffected at all, and glanced at him lightly. Let's go. Tisk. This legendary trash girl was quite cool. Fang Yu laughed and moved his legs to follow. Wanting, they have gathered together. Yi Zhongwen couldn't help saying. So, what if they have gathered together? Yi Wanting hooked the corner of her mouth. Did you hear what the examiner said? The rules of this game are that there are no rules. The 2 of them looked at each other and sneered. 5 suspects, Yunqi, how do we find them? And they are still in the southern suburbs, and the southern suburbs are huge. Sure enough, the most difficult thing for Zhenyao is not the cultural test, but the actual combat exam. At the beginning, they had counseled several people, but Yi Yunqi was very calm, and this test was really not difficult. Is it difficult? Hey, don't you think it's difficult? I also think it's very difficult. Nanching College never takes this kind of test. What's the point of finding someone? Why don't you just come and play? By the way, I'm Fang Yu. It's amazing. I'm still learning boxing now. Do you want to try it with me? Isn't there a bonus point? Otherwise, let's fight. Come on. Blah, blah. From beginning everyone felt that this person, wasn't he too much of a talker? Stop. Yi Yunqi rubbed her sore temple, and the 4 of them looked over together. I said very simple, I meant. Yi Yunqi went to a newsstand, bought a map of the south of the city, and spread it out under the shade of a tree. All of them gathered around and looked at Yi Yunqi curiously. What are you going to do? Yi Yunqi looked at the map with a calm face. A few strands of her long hair fell, and when the wind blew, it revealed her white cheeks. For a while, the several people were stunned. Yi Yunqi was really temperamental and beautiful. First of all, you must remember the scope of the southern suburbs. From Gangcheng West Street to the north, Hongxi Road to the south, the east and west are Jiahe and Qishui River. This is the scope we are looking for. All of them nodded. We have 5 people, and we are looking for 5 people each. So one person will keep an eye at an area and look for people you think are suspicious. Huh? Find them separately? Can we really find the person? I don't have much confidence in myself. I don't have confidence either, but it looks interesting. Can I punch him directly when I find a suspect? Criminals should also know martial arts, right? If he can fight with me, will it prove that he is a criminal? And... Stop. Yi Yunqi sighed. She finally knew why this person could be alone and had to join her team. Because there must be no one who wanted to be with him. This talker, add the WeChat accounts. You can start a video if necessary, and keep in touch at any time. Yi Yunqi divided the area and couldn't wait to turn around and leave. He must have talking tuberculosis or something. Bye. The rest of the people also left, and when the 5 people left, Yi Wanting's team also caught up. Wanting, what should we do now? They've separated. Yi Wanting glanced at the direction Yi Yunqi had left. Go after Yi Yunqi, and about the rest, I don't care. Okay, in the southern suburbs, there were more than a dozen residential areas, 2 large commercial areas, and a circle of orchards on the periphery, but fortunately, the areas were divided, and it was better to act separately. How much more stamina can I exchange? Master, you now have 10,630 XP, which can be exchanged for 1063 stamina points, and the time is for 17 hours. 17 hours? Couldn't use so much. By 5 p.m., 7 hours would be enough. Exchange for 7 hours. Ding. The conversion is successful. Awesomeness XP. 6,430. Physical strength. 432. The host is very big. There is 1 item for customs clearance now. If you exchange 6,000 awesomeness XP, the suspect can be found immediately. The system was very dog-legged, the host was so powerful, and he wanted to help. No need. Yi Yunxi curled her lips and smiled confidently. Ah, the host is so handsome. The previous host wanted it and could not get it, but this host didn't want it. That was a clearance item. How confident do you have to be to choose not to want it? The system was looking forward to it, looking forward to seeing his host's appearance. Her WeChat was always open, and Yi Yunxi was wearing headphones, so she could hear reports from her teammates from time to time. Yunxi, I have someone here who looks sneaky. A video was sent over, and Yi Yunxi glanced at it. Just a voyeur, you can leave it alone, or beat him up and leave. Wang Tingting. She didn't want to beat someone, but when she heard Yunxi's words, she suddenly felt itchy. So, a pervert who was peeking under a girl's miniskirt was beaten up and thrown directly into the Public Security Bureau. The voyeur was dazed. Where am I? What happened? Who I am? Yunxi, there are also a few sneaky people here. Healy and Moxie's video was also posted. Call the police, they are brainwashing grandparents and selling fake drugs. Okay, Yunxi, my side. Sun Chao sent a video, in which several men were sneaking around together, then they entered a high-end KTV together. Attention everyone, go to this KTV. With the order, everyone was stunned for a moment. Huh? Yunxi, are you sure they are the people we're looking for? I think this video is nothing. Yeah, just go to KTV, we often go to. Perhaps you have forgotten who we are looking for. Yi Yunxi looked up, found the direction, and ran. We're looking for drug dealers. Drug dealers? What's wrong with drug dealers? Yi Yunxi hooked the corner of her mouth. Someone is taking drugs. Everyone. Could you see this? But before that, Sun Chao subconsciously looked at the KTV in front of him, and couldn't help but look horrified. Zhenyao's exam is actually a battle. This time, everyone was shocked. Actual battle? With a drug dealer, people could die. Did they want to continue? There was always a sense of life and death. Fuck, actual combat. That drug dealer is not fake. Is it real? Is it real? Is it real? I'm scared to death. What should I do? We have to continue? Will there be mortal danger? By the way, should we report it directly to the instructor and get military support? Should we call the police? Blah, blah, blah. Yunxi, I don't seem to be nervous all of a sudden. Yes, what's the next step? Assemble. Yi Yunxi burst out laughing. We will meet at the door of KTV. This Fang Yu is really a living treasure. Half an hour later, the several people gathered at the door of KTV. What should we do? Should we go in? Yes, now that the person has been found, we can't just act rashly, right? And we only know that some people are taking drugs. Who knows who the culprit is? Everyone was troubled again, so they subconsciously looked at Yi Yunxi. However, the girl was very calm. She turned to look at Sun Chao, with a bright smile and flying long hair. Have you prepared the specialties I asked you to prepare? Specialties? Sun Chao was stunned for a moment, and instantly realized that Yi Yunxi was talking about money. Holy crap, could this specialty really come in handy? God, Yunxi, you are too amazing. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. At this time, Zhenyao's invigilators were in the examination room. Young Master Emperor also has the time to watch Zhenyao's entrance exam? Invigilator Zhang Baichuan stared at the man's slender back with interest. Zhenyao's exam questions are difficult this year? Di Zhengxi stared at the big screen lightly. Of course, this time it's an actual battle. Zhang Baichuan said with a smug look. The SWAT police are going to shut down the internet today, and in this year's exams, everyone will absolutely have 0 points. But how do I see that someone has acted before the SWAT police? Di Junxia's smile gradually deepened. How is this possible? Zhang Baichuan exclaimed, looking at the big screen. Sure enough, a group of people had already arrived at the door of KTV, and the girl in the lead looked arrogant and beautiful. What are you doing? How did they found out? No, I'll call the SWAT directly. I can't let these few hairy kids mess up today's network closing operation. Zhang Baichuan's face changed. To be honest, he didn't believe that anyone could find the target person at all, because the information given was limited. There were 5 suspects in the southern suburbs, and one of them was a drug dealer. This made it impossible for anyone to find him, okay? But there was a team that found the culprit. Were all the current students so smart? And they were all students from ordinary schools. If it was Junyao's students, he could still believe it. Could this group of poor students see criminals or something? It must be a blind cat catching a dead mouse, right? Right. It must be so. Hey, the kitten strayed into the devil's lair. Close the net as soon as possible. The special police knew what was going on as soon as they heard it, and couldn't help making fun of Zhang Baichuan. Is it a slap in the face? We have installed a net. People can't escape. You can just pray that the kittens don't have an accident, come on. Zhang Baichuan. Yes, student safety. Zhang Baichuan was going crazy. What to do now? Zhang Baichuan wanted to cry without tears. At this moment, Yi Yanxi had already kicked the door of the private room with Sun Chao. What are you doing? The several people in the room were startled. Apparently they were hiding something. Yi Yanxi squinted her eyes, and the smell in the room that didn't have time to disperse confirmed her guess. Yes, it was drugs. The suitcase was thrown on the coffee table, and a box full of money burst open, blinding everyone in an instant. What the hell, this boy and girl, what were they doing here? And there was a lot of money. Glancing around, Yi Yanxi quickly identified the target person, a thin middle-aged man in the corner. She lowered her chin arrogantly and said with a lazy smile, "Why, you don't know brother Sun?" She brought Sun Chao over to pat his shoulder. Then Yi Yanxi smiled and said, "He is the young master of the Sun family, and the second-generation heir of a rich family. 600,000 for a night is nothing for him. But his buddies in the circle said that if you want to get something exciting, we have to come find you brothers." Sun Chao was immediately dumbfounded. Damn, what's going on? What was Yanxi saying? He obviously knew every word. How come he couldn't understand it when he connected them? Sun family? A few people looked at each other. Everyone knew that there were rich second-generations racing cars in Mopan Mountain, and some goods were also more popular there, but there were fixed supplies there, and generally no one would come here. The figure in the corner moved. Lao Niu stretched out his pair of bloodshot eyes and stared at Yi Yanxi coldly. Looking for stimulation? Brothers. Let these two little brother and sister be stimulated, and teach them the rules of the industry by the way. Police? That was definitely not possible. These two were obviously students. He was afraid they heard that he was selling goods here, so they rushed in recklessly. Lao Niu snorted coldly. But the rules were the rules. If anyone could come to him to buy it, his operation would be exposed sooner or later. The few people surrounding him immediately acted upon hearing his words, picking up and heading straight for Sun Chao. Sun Chao was taken aback. He didn't expect this to start a fight. When he was shocked, a figure had already moved ahead of him, and Yi Yanxi, like a dexterous little deer, had calmly shuttled among the group of people. Fly kick. Sweep. Throat slam. Dong, dong, dong. The girl seemed to have transformed into a god of war. Her face was indifferent and chilling, and her long hair fluttered when she turned around, drawing beautiful arcs. What a nice view. She is so strong. When he reacted, everybody was already lying on the ground. Where is Yi Yanxi, the waste? She is so powerful and inhumane. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. Lao Niu was also taken aback. He thought that they were just two students, but he didn't expect that the girl was so strong. What was the origin of these two? Oh, I didn't expect you to actually find someone? A faint voice sounded behind him. However, from now on, this drug dealer belongs to me. Yi Wanting appeared at the door with someone, and Yi Zhongwen even kicked Sun Chao aside with a kick. In the private room, Yi Yanxi glanced back lazily, and subconsciously hooked the corner of her mouth. This waste, what a laugh. Yi Wanting gritted her teeth. Why was she acting like she knew everything? It was so annoying. Drug dealer? Lao Niu was keen to catch something from Yi Wanting's words. He didn't say a word, He just got up and wanted to leave. However, Yi Zhongwen had already rushed in with the people in their team. The minions were laid down by Yi Yanqi. No matter how powerful Lao Niu was, he would be no match for the four of them, but he was very slick. He was running around in the private room, and Yi Zhongwen and the others couldn't catch him for a while. I heard from someone that I will definitely fail Zhenyao? Yi Wanting sneered. Yi Yanqi, is it good to be slapped in the face? The girl lazily lifted her long hair. Her black silky hair flashed through the dim lights in the private room. Yi Yanqi hooked her fingers lazily, and issued an order to the mobile phone. Plan B. Plan B? What the hell? Yi Wanting hadn't responded yet, when another group of people rushed in. It turned out to be Brother Zhuang. Brothers, the eldest lady has instructed. No matter whether it is an enemy or a friend, no one is allowed to stand today. It's really cool to follow Miss Yi, to earn money and fight. It's really cool, they really want it. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. Bang! 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 The unilateral beating of Lao Niu turned into a melee. Yi Zhongwen's group was immediately stunned. What the hell? Where did these bastards come from? What was wrong with Zhenyao's exam? But Yi Yanqi didn't bother with them. The rules of the exam were that there are no rules, right? During the melee, Lao Niu saw the opportunity and slipped away. Yi Wanting clicked her tongue and turned around to chase after him, but unfortunately, her legs were not yet healed. She was limping, and she really couldn't catch up. Human, you can't fight with the sky. Yi Yanqi walked over slowly, glanced at Yi Wanting's leg, and smiled lazily. God has said that you won't be able to get into Zhenyao, stop struggling. This damn waste. Yi Wanting was about to explode. The drug dealer had already been found, but in the end she let him run away. If her legs were all right, that person would have never been able to run. You bastard! Before the words were finished, Yi Yanqi had already flown to catch up, and she had no time to talk to Yi Wanting. This was the first time, she reluctantly accepted it. She quickly rushed to the end of the corridor. Lao Niu ran faster, and when he saw Yi Yanqi, he subconsciously wanted to jump out of the window and leave, but Yi Yanqi had already jumped high. Want to run? It's not that easy. The full strength state brought her back to the peak mode, and the flying kicks were also done in a chic and beautiful manner. With one kick, the drug dealer's cheek was deflated, and Lao Niu broke the window and fell into the small alley behind. Yi Yanqi flew down, with her long hair dancing, her clothes fluttering, her volley movements were unusually standard and handsome, and she stepped on the belly of Lao Niu with great precision. Ouch! Lao Niu rolled his eyes on the spot. Holy crap, was this woman still a human? Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. Wow! The pitch-black muzzles all aimed at Yi Yanqi in a surrounding posture. The SWAT officers in dark uniforms and helmets were tough and handsome, like heavenly soldiers falling from the sky. But what shocked them even more was Yi Yanqi. Was this girl 16 only 17 years old? Breaking down the window and jumping from the second floor was not an easy task. Not to mention that her landing posture was so beautiful that it was impeccable, and not only she pounced on him but also defeated him. The drug dealer passed out on the spot. She was so strong, it felt like if she was to be recruited in the SWAT team right now, she could go to work directly without training. The men turned on the admiration mode for Yi Yanqi. This could be heard from the awesomeness XP ding sounds that kept ringing in her head. It went up by 120 in one go. But SWAT? Yi Yanqi gathered her long hair. Why were the SWAT here? Were they here to catch the drug dealers? While she was still in doubt, someone lowered the dark muzzle and stood in front of Yi Yanqi calmly and stubbornly. Ji Zhengxi was still in a suit that fit him perfectly, and his extremely beautiful facial features carried a little praise. The more he looked at this little woman, the more pleasing he found her. Young Emperor, the team leader couldn't help but sigh. Were Zhenyao's candidate too strong this year? Take the people away. Oh, they picked up the dying Lao Niu and took him away, but before that, the team leader planned to send the person to the hospital for a checkup. They didn't know if he was suffering from a concussion. Young Emperor, don't go. Emperor Junxi waved his hands, signaling them to go first. Walk. My wife is here. Why would I leave? Why are you everywhere? Yi Yunxi patted the dust off her clothes and stood up. Di Junxi didn't care, he just hooked the corner of his mouth. His slender eyes were as deep as the vast stars, penetrating everything, and quietly fell on Yi Yunxi's face. Fingers with thin calluses wiped Yi Yunxi's tender cheeks, and then gently raised her tender chin. The emperor looked down at her like he was the king of the world. Such a man was strong and domineering, giving Yi Yunxi the illusion of being suppressed. Do you think your mission is perfect enough this time? Perfect. Yi Yunxi laughed, pushed the man's hand away, and the suppressed breath disappeared, which made her feel a lot more relaxed. She loosened her neck lazily, and after the crackling sound, she became a little more relaxed. It will be perfect when I finish cleaning up a person. Did Yi Wanting think she was stupid? Couldn't see anything? Seeing that he didn't need to remind her, Di Junxi hooked the corner of his mouth, lowered his head and lit a cigarette, then he raised his head, and exhaled a smoke ring. I'll wait for you to come back and have a celebration feast. Is there any problem? Mo Yuxiang didn't know why. Were these two playing dumb? One more person to clean up? Who was it? The criminals were all caught, and the suspects were also beaten up. Who else didn't she clean up? Di Junxi glanced at Mo Yuxiang in a rare good mood. Is your brain used to smash walnuts? Mo Yuxiang. Let him think of something, he couldn't say it properly. What to say about smashing walnuts? Lao Su's brain was not a stone. Mo Yuxiang squatted down with his head in his arms, thinking hard, but no matter what, he couldn't recall what was left behind. This was so crazy, what the hell was going on? Hey, did you really catch that drug dealer? Where is the drug dealer? Why didn't I see it? How did you find out? How did you catch him? I really want to know. Tell me. Fang Yu, you are so noisy, we really won. Yunxi is super powerful. Yes, you are noisy. Then why don't we celebrate at night? I don't eat carrots and beans. The rest is fine. What do you want to eat? Hot pot? Sichuan cuisine? Or a seafood buffet? You shouldn't eat seafood. Blah, blah, blah. A group of people got big heads from Fang Yu. They couldn't even think of what they wanted to eat. On the other hand, Yi Yunxi stopped at the bustling road in the southern suburbs. The girl brushed off her long hair and looked back at Fang Yu. Of course I want to celebrate, but it doesn't have your share. Fang Yu was stunned, and his face changed slightly. Why, Yunxi? Yeah, we're all on the same team, why shouldn't he go? That's right, Fang Yu smiled awkwardly, but inside, he felt a little guilty. Why, you don't know yourself. Yi Yunxi tilted her head and looked at Fang Yu. Fang Yu gritted his teeth. I don't know. Is that so? Yi Yunxi nodded, her eyes darkening slightly. Then let me tell you. Yi Wanting and team were staring at me. I got rid of them 3 times. I was found all 3 times, and the last time I got rid of them, I went straight to KTV. There were several walls across the road. How did they find me? Can they see through the walls? Amongst the small team, there was silence, and everyone looked at Fang Yu subconsciously. Yunxi meant, this person was working undercover? Was it real or fake? I don't know what you are talking about. Fang Yu continued to struggle. Yi Yunxi laughed and didn't take it seriously. Otherwise, open your WeChat and let me take a look at the chat record between you and someone in Yi Wanting's team. The chat record should not have been deleted, right? Fang Yu was terrified. Looking at Yi Yunxi steadily, he only felt that the girl's smile was determined and gorgeous, and those black eyes pressed over him with terrifying power, causing him to tremble all over such that he couldn't even lift his head. Wasn't this guy trash? Why were her eyes so sharp? Could she see through it all? Ding. Awesomeness XP +10. You, when did you find out, since you joined our team? So early. Fang Yu felt that he was completely defeated, and he squatted on the ground with his head slumped. What the hell, what's the matter? You found out so early, it's so depressing. Yi Wanting said that you are a waste and you will never find the drug dealer. I think she is a waste. Hey, why am I so miserable? as a teammate of a waste. Obviously I can hold the big god's thigh and win the first place. Ah, it's too sad. Too sad, too sad. So noisy. Yunshi, you found out so early? Wang Tingting and others were also shocked. Then, why did you let him join us? Yeah, he's still an undercover, because this task required 5 people. We wouldn't have been able to get into Junyao without one more member. Yi Yunshi hooked his lips. From the attitude of those people in the examination room, she knew that with her reputation, she would definitely not be able to attract any teammates, so why not use it when someone brought himself to the door? So it is like this. Sun Chao smashed his left fist into the palm of his right hand. So you knew he was an undercover agent, but you still agreed. This is obviously using him. But, you were not worried at all? You don't think it is him. Should I worry more about myself? Yi Yunshi looked at Fang Yu, who was squatting on the ground with his head in his arms. Immediately, everyone looked at Yi Yunshi in awe. She was too great, right? Knowing that he was an undercover agent, she still used him, and in the end, she won the first place under the eyes of her opponent. Not to mention, the undercover spy was now squatting on the ground with his head in his arms and had completely lost his combat effectiveness. This was also a kind of ability. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. No. Someone who was completely incapacitated raised his head and hugged Yi Yunshi's thigh tightly. I have decided that I want to change my evil ways. I want to follow the eldest lady. You can accept me. I will definitely be loyal to you. Don't let me go to hell with that trash you wanting. I'm a good boxer, and you won't suffer if you accept me. So please accept me. Eldest miss. Accept me. I will warm the bed by being coquettish and cute. Why'd I seem to see a loyal humanoid dog wagging its tail? Keely and Moxie thought she was dazzled. I also saw. Sun Chao twitched the corners of his mouth. The same younger brother. Did Fang Yu's actions made him feel ashamed? Trying to tear off the loyal humanoid dog on his leg, Yi Yunshi was speechless for a while. You can come, but you have to make up for the mistakes you made. Make it up? How to make it up? How to make it up? Yi Yunshi had a headache. This was the first time she has encountered such a talkative type. That I don't care, you can do whatever you want. Leaving aside a certain talker, Yi Yunshi strode away. The rest of the people could only follow Yi Yunshi, leaving Fang Yu in a squatting position on the ground. Make up for the mistakes he made. Fang Yu blinked his big eyes and twitched the corners of his mouth. Haha, he understood the miss now. Wait for me, wait for me, wait for me, wait for me. I'm going to make up for it. Fang Yu patted the dust off his knees, folded his arms behind his back, and left leisurely. In the corner, Mo Yuxiang stared at all this in a stunned manner. Isn't it just Zhenyao's exam? Did they even need to get an undercover spy? Do you want to be so brain-burning, brain-dead? Mo Yuxiang, young emperor, did you really choose that woman to be your fiancé? You don't think she's worthy of me? The man who was extremely cold and handsome looked tough and domineering, with a sharp edge. Being expelled from the position of heir or something, this kind of person is completely unworthy of you. You mean she is worthy of anything else? Hee hee, young master, your brain can also be used to knock walnuts, right? Other than that, she was not good enough. However, he didn't dare to say it, so just kept thinking about it. Of course, the small team's celebration banquet didn't reach completion, because Di Junxi came in halfway. With the person leaning against the door to smoke, Wang Tingting and others automatically opted out and offered Yi Yunshi both hands. Yunshi, come on. Seize the opportunity. What opportunity should she seize? Yi Yunshi was confused and couldn't understand at all. On the contrary, the corner of Di Junxi's mouth curled into a smile that was not a smile, and he successfully made a group of girls on the road blush. I think I have the right to eat with my friends. Yi Yunshi decided to fight for her rights in this matter. I don't think you understand the meaning of the contract. The man drove the car aggressively, and the incoming wind ruffled his dark hair and blurred those slender and deep eyes. The meaning of being my fiancé is that you should think of me before others. This was true. Yi Yunxi rubbed her chin, recalling the little couple she had seen before. Their glue-like state made her subconsciously shiver. Forget it, there was no need to do those glue-like actions. Where to go? Where is he going to take her to learn this time? Verify your learning outcomes. Verification, how to test. When in doubt, the car stopped in front of a restaurant in an upscale neighborhood. This restaurant had a very high-class style. In addition to the expensive food and only accepting rich people, there was also a rule that people who could come and go must wear formal attire. That was to say, Yi Yunxi, who was wearing sportswear and sneakers, was not allowed to enter. Here, are you sure? Was he sure she could get in? Come here. He hooked her slender waist and pulled her into his arms. The soft touch made Di Junxi very satisfied. Sure enough, as seen during the exercise, it felt good. He subconsciously hooked the corner of his mouth and looked down at the person in his arms. Yi Yunxi was also looking at him. Her beautiful eyebrows were obviously a little unpleasant because of him. Such a close distance had even crossed her line of defense, and the smell of tobacco mixed with an unfamiliar aura made her somewhat uneasy. Dear, you have to get used to it, Di Junxi whispered softly close to her ear. There were many men in the army, but all of them were her buddies, and they were scrambling to catch up to her, so no one had ever spoken to her by sticking to her. Yi Yunxi's face was slightly red, and she glared at Di Junxi fiercely. Of course, the man laughed instead of being angry, and with a long arm he held Yi Yunxi even more tightly. This is the most basic contact between lovers, the old lady knows. Don't say it over and over again. He slightly raised his eyebrows. Yi Yunxi was also unequivocal. She flipped her long hair, and simply knocked away Di Junxi's hand. Then she put her arms around him, and smiled slightly. I prefer this kind of thing. That's all right. Di Junxi retracted his gaze, and when he raised his eyes, the person's aura also changed, from charming to high-spirited and majestic. This man was indeed handsome. I'll buy you a formal dress first. The clothing store was right next to the restaurant, and as soon as Di Junxi walked in, he was surrounded by salespersons. These people were used to seeing the elites of the upper class, and they could tell Di Junxi's status at a glance, but Yi Yunxi, wearing sportswear and sneakers, a formal dress. The emperor threw out the sentence indifferently, and Yi Yunxi had several more clothes in front of her in an instant. The salespersons were attentive, and Yi Yunxi could only change her clothes. But no matter what kind of clothes she wore, it looked good on her. With her slender waist and buttocks, of course, she could wear anything. Yi Yunxi couldn't see any difference. Anyway, they were all skirts. The difference was only the color and length. Was there any other difference? Miss, whichever one you wear looks good. It's really hard to choose. Yeah, it's super hard to choose, otherwise buy them all. Buy them all? Did something go wrong? It's just a meal. Do they think it's a runway show? Seeing that Yi Yunxi couldn't make up her mind, Di Junxi simply stood up and picked a dark starry sky dress from the pile of clothes and handed it over. This one. This one? Yi Yunxi took it and glanced at it. Except for some sparkling things on it, wasn't it still a skirt? But she could only put it on and walk out of the dressing room. At that moment, even the shop assistant didn't know what to say. This dress was really suitable for Yi Yunxi. It was almost like it was made just for her. The background was as deep as the sea, and the blue changed from dark to light from top to bottom. The hem of the skirt seemed to be a shallow cut. The long skirt was covered with a layer of tulle, and the fragments on the veil were as bright as stars. As she walked around, the stars twinkled little by little, and she looked absolutely gorgeous. So beautiful, like a sea spirit at night, she feels mysterious and beautiful. Although she disdained the profession of models, beauty was beauty. Everyone was very satisfied with this skirt, but Di Junxi glanced at it and frowned. Take it off. Why? Yi Yunxi was very curious. Everyone said it looked good, didn't they? Di Junxi's face became even uglier. It looked good, but it was too revealing on the chest. Wouldn't pulling it down a little bit be the same as not wearing a top? And the back, showing so much skin, who was she trying to seduce? Change to this one. Di Junxi handed over another skirt with an ugly face, and Yi Yanxi was speechless. This time, the long skirt was ordinary, and the design of the small stand-up collar even wrapped the neck. Emperor Di Junxi nodded with satisfaction. Just this one. This one? The shop assistants all said that it was not as good looking as the starry sky dress. But the gold owner had said so, and they could only collect the money. However, the one who handed over the card was the little mistress in their eyes. Swipe the card. Ah? The shop assistant looked at Di Junxi. The man's card had already been drawn out, but Yi Yanxi said directly, I can still afford a skirt. Di Junxi glanced at her incredulously, but did not speak and kept his card away. The shop assistant's brain was going to explode. Could she really afford it? The cheapest dresses here cost tens of thousands, and those who could afford it were all rich people, right? So, this girl was not Di Junxi's kept lover. At that moment, the shop assistant couldn't help feeling that Yi Yanxi was awe-inspiring. After all, in their line of work, there were not many women who used their own money to buy clothes here. It turned out that the little sister was from a wealthy family herself. Awesome. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. After changing her skirt and slightly adjusting her hairstyle, Yi Yanxi followed behind Di Junxi and walked into the restaurant. The advantage of being young was that there was no need for makeup, and her skin also revealed a texture that was unbroken. Hello, sir, table for how many? The waiter greeted him eagerly, but Di Junxi turned around, took Yi Yanxi's hand, and stubbornly wrapped it around his own arm. You have to get used to it, the man whispered softly. You are the evil emperor's woman. Well, just get used to it. Anyway, when the time came to see the parents, it would still be natural to enough not show any flaws. Yi Yanxi calmly hooked the man's arm and sat down. There were many people in the restaurant, and even for such an expensive meal, there was a steady stream of diners. Many people looked over subconsciously, and a small number of them knew Di Junxi. The circle of the upper class was only so large, and the air of the emperor's family was so strong, he would never be forgotten, even after being seen just once. That seems to be the emperor, right? Who is the woman opposite? Is there such a young lady among the big families? She is pretty, and is a good match with the emperor. Che, it's just a meal. Can it prove that she is the emperor's girlfriend? That is, isn't that woman worthy of the emperor? When the men's gaze fell on Yi Yanxi, they were full of surprise, while when the women's gaze fell on Yi Yanxi, they were full of disdain. There is no such person among the young ladies of several major families. Maybe, she just wants to climb up the ranks and deliberately came to eat with him here. Poor girl, does she even understand the etiquettes? Etiquettes? I'm sorry, this sister really understands. Looking up and looking around, Yi Yanxi hooked the corner of her mouth and gracefully picked up the knife and fork. Posture, full marks. Temperament, also full marks. It was not that she didn't know the etiquettes of the upper class. She didn't care whether she was worthy of Di Junxi. But no one could despise her, Yi Yanxi. Because if they could do it, so could Yi Yanxi. Even if she couldn't, she could still learn since she has a brain. The petite woman evoked an arrogant smile. Her black eyes lazily swept across the jealous faces, and she swallowed the beef gracefully and calmly. Her posture so beautiful that one could not take their eyes off her. That's really not the eldest lady of some family? It's perfect. Excuse me. This gentleman ordered a cannon for the young lady, please enjoy it. When the waiter with the violin came to the table, there was a gasp in the surroundings. Emperor Junxi ordered a violin song for this woman, and it was canon. How jealous. Okay. Yi Yanxi smiled and glanced at Emperor Junxi. What was going on? It was just a contract. Did he really need to have such a full setup? However, Emperor Junxi put down his knife and fork, and took time to relax, waiting for the music to start. Whether it was a contract or not, this was what he wanted to do for Yi Yanxi. The melodious sound of the violin matched the dim atmosphere of the restaurant, which was romantic and charming. If it was just any girl sitting here, he was afraid she would have already fallen in love with him, but Yi Yunxi just rubbed her temple. She felt that being a woman of Emperor Zhengxi must be very tiring, because this woman must be all-powerful. Including knowing how to appreciate music. After the violin performance was over, a large bouquet of fiery roses was brought up, and Yi Yunxi's mouth was almost cramping because of smiling so hard. What exactly was he trying to do? Her intuition told her that there must be a conspiracy. Why can't the roses be given to me? Young Emperor D is so cold-hearted. Still he can give roses to someone. This is really unbelievable. I heard that the old man of the D family is forcing Emperor Zhengxi to choose his fiancée. So, is she the answer to the old man's nagging? Interesting, she doesn't seem to be a member of one of the top families. Does the emperor have some misunderstandings? He won't be used by wild cats, right? Use, please, it's him using her now, just admiring Yi Yunxi unilaterally. But not after 3 years, I'll send you back. The fiery rose, the charming girl, she was even more dazzling than the man's cold aura, which was so cold that it couldn't be heated up even with all the fireworks of the world. He always thought it was quite right. After leaving the hotel, Yi Yunxi pushed the person away, her full red lips hooked into a smile. In order to get your grandfather to agree, you don't have to go to so much trouble, right? Whether it was the violin performance or the red roses, it was too eye-catching, so as soon as it was publicly announced, everyone in the imperial family would soon know about it, right? Di Zhengxi hooked the corner of his mouth, wondered how smart this little woman was. What if I said it was all just for you? Reload. I don't like the violin, but the flowers were not bad. Di Zhengxi raised his eyebrows slightly. She didn't like the violin? After all, I can still sell it for some money. Di Zhengxi, the first woman in the world who received his gift, actually thought of selling it for money. His black eyes became more and more gloomy, and Di Zhengxi frowned slightly. This woman always had the ability to make him angry. Then, see you next week. After opening the car door, Yi Yunxi calmly left, but Di Zhengxi stayed silent for a while, then chuckled softly. While talking about selling it for money, she also threw away the flowers. Yi Yunxi, can you be more cute? Ding! Peach blossom value plus 10. Yi Yunxi, where did this peach blossom value come from? When he got home, Di Zhengxi was indeed called by the old man to the study. You just gave her an identity? The old man thought it was incredible. Many people had already asked him about the restaurant incident. Yeah, the emperor's evil expression was indifferent, as cold as a perfectly carved jade. But she's nothing now. The old man was so angry, thinking that she was not worthy of his grandson at all. Soon, she will be. Di Zhengxi responded lightly. What's going on? She's been kicked out of the position of heir, can't she go back? Di Zhengxi lowered his eyes, and his thick eyelashes blocked the light in his eyes. Go back? That was natural. He was sure that there would be changes in the Yi family, just at this week's family banquet. So, why say so much now? Di Zhengxi stood up expressionlessly. It's nothing, I'm going to sleep. It's not over yet. That Yi Yunxi is really not worthy of you. The old man still wanted to speak, but Di Zhengxi had already got up leave. Grandpa Di didn't know yet, but within 3 days of what he said, he was slapped in the face. The battle of the heirs had kicked off. Wasn't it just a matter of grabbing the title of the heir? That, Yunxi, let's forget it. Dad, we can't afford this place. Yi Junpo stood hesitantly at the entrance of the mall, but refused to go inside. This Zhenhua shopping mall was the most expensive of all shopping malls. All the items sold here were luxury goods. A casual pair of underwear was sold for 4 figures, not to mention clothes. Yi Yunji was also a little hesitant. Yunxi, it's just a family banquet. You don't have to be so inspiring, right? And they were no longer the heirs, so returning back with such a dignified personality would inevitably make them the laughing stock in front of everyone. Most importantly, did they have this much money? Since we are going back, we have to go back in a beautiful way. Yi Yunxi hooked the corner of her mouth and pulled the men directly into the men's clothing store. The high-end stores were clean and beautiful, shining everywhere, and the shop assistants were also very temperamental and polite. However, Yi Junpo felt his legs go weak as soon as he saw the price. Was a shirt worth tens of thousands? Didn't he have hundreds of thousands of coats? Was buying clothes here necessary? You open a shop selling gold, right? Yi Junpo was dazed, but Yi Yanqi had already handed over a few clothes. I picked it up, try it out. Yanqi, let's go, Dad really has no money. Don't talk nonsense, Dad, this time, let's go back in a beautiful way. The Battle of the Heirs was here, and the equipment could not be ignored. Moreover, the money she had earned by racing had not been used much yet. They had money, what would they be afraid of? As soon as she pushed them into the dressing room, Yi Yanqi began to pick a tie. She had enough money on her body to squander it. Although Yi Junpo was broke now, he was once the young master of the Yi family. After changing his clothes, his whole person felt completely different. And after Yi Yunji put on his clothes, he also looked different from usual. In addition, he had recently started exercising with Yi Yanqi in the morning. Because of this his slender body had grown a little muscle, and it made him look a little more masculine. Just these 2 sets, pack them. No, Yi Yunji pulled his sister away. Buy it here, are you rich? Don't worry, brother, we are not short of money now. The bank card flashed. Yi Yanqi swiped the card directly and Yi Junpo couldn't help frowning. Yanqi, where did your money come from? There was obviously no money in the family. Why did his daughter suddenly have more money in her hand? Oh, those people said that the money for the movie wasn't spent completely, so they will return some of it. Dad, since we are going back to our home, we should use it, for once. Why shouldn't we go back in an upright manner? Yi Junpo also wanted to go back in an upright manner, but... Dad, let Yanqi do what she wants this time, she should be happy. Yi Junpo looked at his son, and in the end he had no choice but to agree. You're not allowed to be like this in the future. Okay Dad. Yi Yanqi smiled, paid the bill and left. As for her clothes, she could just use the one she wore during dinner that day. Anyway, it was also a formal dress, and it was also suitable to wear it back to a banquet. However, after returning home, Yi Yanqi received a package. It was sent by Di Junxi. When she opened the package, it was the best-looking blue starry sky dress she had tried that day, but she couldn't buy in the end. This person was really strange. He didn't allow her to buy it that day, but he mailed it to her today. There was also a card inside the parcel, with a few words written on it. I wish you best of luck. The flag will be victorious. Ah, Yi Yanqi couldn't help laughing. This Emperor Junxi actually knew what she was going to do. Even the dress was sent. Yanqi, are you ready? We're going out. Come on. After packing, Yi Yanqi opened the door and walked out. She stood there quietly, like the stars in the sky, bright and moving. My God, sister, when did you buy this dress? It's so beautiful. It outlined her delicate figure very well, and her skin was as white as snow. She looked so beautiful. Yi Yanqi brushed her long hair and smiled slightly. Let's go, brother. The family of 3 stopped a taxi and went straight to the hotel. Family banquets were held once a year. This was a family tradition. It was intended to consolidate the relationship between families, and some important things would also be mentioned in the family banquet. For example, this family banquet was to announce the new heir of the Yi family in advance. The old man Yi Jianxing had been in charge of the family for more than 30 years. No one in the generation of Yi Junpo could inherit it, so now he could only rely on the younger generation. The Yi family uncle had 5 sons in this generation, except for Yi Junpo. The remaining 4 sons were Yi Junlai, and his son and daughter were extremely capable leaders. The family banquet was set in a hotel for 2 reasons. First, the old man didn't like too much noise in the house. Second, going to the hotel could save a lot of trouble. At this moment, there were cars parked outside the hotel, and people in formal suits walked into the lobby with smiles. Butler Wen also stood at the door to receive him. Young masters and young ladies came one after another, and they were also very polite to Butler Wen. Butler Wen, I heard that you went to invite the eldest brother? He definitely won't come, right? He must have ignored you again. Hey, my eldest brother is so selfish, he can't even take care of uncle's wishes. Facing the provocation, the butler smiled and said nothing. Yi Jianxing had only one son, Yi Junpo, and the rest were the children of his brothers. He couldn't help outsiders who spoke ill of his master. How my dad is, it's still not the third uncle's turn to make irresponsible remarks. An indifferent voice sounded. Yi Junru frowned and glanced back. Seeing it was Yi Junpo and his family, he couldn't help but want to ridicule them in 2 sentences, but was shocked by the clothes they were wearing. Wasn't this clothing brand from Zhenhua shopping mall? And it was also very expensive. A casual shirt could be sold for tens of thousands. Where did Yi Junpo get it from? Was this the imitation version he bought? Yi Junru stared at Yi Junpo's clothes, and couldn't help sneering. Brother, we won't laugh at you if you don't have money, but wearing a fake, it doesn't look good. Fake? Third uncle, whether it is fake or not, can't you see it? Yi Yunji couldn't help laughing. Fake? Open your dog eyes and look at it clearly. This was bought by the girl herself at the mall. It's genuine, do you want to see the receipt? Yi Junru's face was flushed. They turned out to be real. Did he make a mistake? They were all kicked out of Yi family. With a meager monthly salary, could they afford this luxury? He couldn't even afford it. He was not even comparable to the poor ghost who was pretending to be forced by the family. Heck, the host, Yi Jianxing, sat on the old-fashioned 8 immortals chair and received the greetings from the guests. In order to inherit the family business, the heir must be an adult, but if the family had decided on a suitable candidate, it could also be announced in advance. Uncle, you are not in good health. It's good to choose an heir early, Uncle can relax. Yes, Uncle, your health is getting worse and worse recently. The young people were sitting around, talking and laughing, but their eyes looked around from time to time until they saw Yi Yunxi's family walk in. The family of 3 were well dressed, and the high-end suits were top-notch in both fabric and tailoring. This instantly packaged the sloppy poor ghost into a handsome uncle in the upper class. Even Yi Yunji looked a little less white and delicate, and somewhat more manly. As for Yi Yunxi, many women stared straight at the dress on her body. That was new this season, and there was only one piece in one store. Such an expensive thing was actually worn by such a poor ghost, which made people envious and jealous. They were shocked looking at the poor people in the whole family who were dressed better than themselves. What a shame, however, the male guests all looked at Yi Yunxi subconsciously. The navy blue background made the girl's fair skin look as delicate as jade, and the dotted decorations were like an endless galaxy. She was full of fairy spirit and elegance. It outlined the girl's slender waist and upturned chest. It's true that people rely on clothes, it's so beautiful. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. While the system seized the awesomeness XP, it laughed. Mortals, I'll kneel down under my host's pomegranate skirt. Soon, the sighs turned to mockery. Oh, the clothes are really bright and beautiful. If they wear this outfit, the family will starve to death. Their ability to afford these clothes is praiseworthy. Hey, poor ghosts are making trouble. During the discussion, Yi Junpo felt a little embarrassed and felt uncomfortable all over, especially because of the clothes, which were very piercing. Dad, don't mind the barking of the dogs around, let's go and say hello to Grandpa. Yi Junpo's face became even worse when he saw Yi Jianxing, but his daughter pulled him and he could only muffle, Dad. Yi Jianxing took a deep look at him. His eyes were so deep that he couldn't see happiness or anger, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Well, the old man nodded simply, and the attitude of the people around him became even more disdainful. Truly an unloved son, Master Yi came to lead Miss Wanting. Oh, can Wanting go down? Yi Jianxing got up from the chair, and walked to the door. The obvious difference in treatment made many people look like they were watching a good show. Look, the legitimate son showed up, but trash is still trash. No matter how brightly you dress, you still won't fall in the eyes of your own father. If he absolutely didn't come, he'll be ashamed. Obviously he's a direct descendant, but was taken advantage of by the concubine, and has become useless to the point where he had to replace the heir, and it would be a shame if he came back. That's right, he's still dressed like a clown. Yi Junpo became more and more uncomfortable. Yenshi, let's go. He really didn't want to stay here any longer. He didn't even want to come. Dad, calm down. Yi Yenshi smiled slightly, ignoring these people directly. Today, I will let you straighten your back. Straighten your back? Yenshi, what are you going to do? When he was surprised, Yi Wanting had already come in with the old man. She was still limping, but she had a soft smile on her face, and she had worn a beautiful evening dress, and the long skirt covered her outlines brightly and movingly, as if she was a princess among the audience. But when she saw Yi Yenshi, her eyes suddenly darkened. Wasn't this the dress that she had wanted to buy, but told that it had been bought? Was it bought by this rubbish? Could she afford it? That skirt's cost already fell in the 6 figures? Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. Jealousy made Yi Yenshi earn 10 more awesomeness XP, so she looked over with a half smile, and Yi Wanting became more and more unwilling the longer she saw her. She was robbed of the first place in the Junyao exam by this jerk, and even her skirt was robbed by this jerk. But it didn't matter, today's winner would definitely be her, Yi Wanting. The heir to the Yi family could only be her, Yi Wanting. Holding Yi Jianxing to sit down, Yi Wanting stood beside Yi Jianxing like a mistress, as if she was his granddaughter. Everyone had no objection. After all, they all knew that the heir to be announced today must be Yi Wanting. Since everyone is here, I'll also announce one thing. Seeing the old man speak, everyone became energized. Was he about to declare an heir? Many people looked at the brightly dressed Yi Yenshi's family as if they were watching the excitement, and laughed softly. It's just a joke to dress like that. Yeah, the position of the heir can't be theirs, so what's the matter with wearing these expensive outfits? Clown jumping over beams. Yi Jianxing, the heir to the new generation of the Yi family is. Yi Wanting deliberately puffed out her chest and looked at Yi Yenshi with a proud expression. Wasn't this trash still thinking that she would be kicked out of the family? Who would be kicked out of the house? You would know immediately. People's gazes were getting more and more eager, and even Yi Junlai felt smugger. Although his father was not the patriarch of the Yi family, his daughter was equally capable, as she would now take the position of the patriarch. Direct line? Oh, was it not the same as being trampled on by their concubines? Master, Junyao's transcript and notice are here. Butler Wen's voice suddenly sounded, and everyone looked at the door. The one who sent the transcript was Zhang Baichuan, the invigilator of the exam, and the dean of Junyao. This time, he came to issue the notice in person. Master, this is Junyao's dean, Zhang Baichuan, Mr. Zhang. Junyao's dean actually came to deliver the transcripts and notices in person? How much face did it take to invite such a character? I knew Wanting would definitely have something to do. Yeah, the dean of Junyao came in person. It must be because Wanting's grades are too good. I have no opinion on such an excellent child as the heir. That is, why should we stick to what kind of direct descendants? Some people can't do it. They should let the place go. Let the capable people lead us, so that we can return to the sword of the empire sooner. That is, a person in the province dragging our family down. People complimented Yi Wanting loudly, and belittled Yi Yenshi arbitrarily. Each one's eyes were like knives, as if in the blink of an eye, this family should be slaughtered. Yi Junlai was also incredibly happy. His daughter had really given him face. The person who sent the letter was still such a big man. As for Yi Wanting, she was extremely happy. She knew that she couldn't win the first place this time, but it was absolutely no problem for her to enter Junyao. She just didn't expect Junyao to attach so much importance to her, that it turned out that the dean came in person. Yi Yenshi, where else could you compare to me? Yi Wanting walked down arrogantly, threw away her crutches, tried her best to hold on, and stood in front of Zhang Baichuan. Teacher, you come here in person. Today happens to be our family banquet. Please stay for dinner before leaving. Yi Wanting, the eldest lady, was full of style, as if she was already the legitimate heir of the Yi family. Then I'm sorry. Zhang Baichuan smiled politely, but he looked around subconsciously. Yi Yanxi, where was she? He wanted to have a good chat with her. Mr. Zhang, just give me the notice and transcript, and I'll show it to Grandpa. Yi Wanting smiled and looked at the notice expectantly. Yeah, teacher, since it was given to our Wanting, it's for her. We'll just happen to have a few drinks with the teacher. Yi Junlai became complacent, and glanced at Yi Junpo, and he saw his eldest brother's head hanging low. However, Zhang Baichuan not only did not hand over the notice, but turned around and walked towards Yi Yanxi. This man, why was he going to the trash? People looked at Yi Yanxi suspiciously, but Yi Junpo and Yi Yunji were both startled. Why was he coming here? Could it be that Yanxi did something wrong in the exam and was remembered by teacher Zhang? No, it was not that bad, was it? The transcript and notice will naturally be delivered by me, so I'm here to complete the task. Zhang Baichuan smiled, shook the things in his hand, and pressed them into Yi Yanxi's hand in front of everyone's eyes. The audience were shocked. System. Fuck, the awesomeness XP is going to explode. Before the system could count the awesomeness XP, the scene was already in a frenzy. What's going on? Everyone was terrified as they looked at what was happening in front of them with strange eyes. Am I dreaming? The notification letter is actually for Yi Yanxi? How could that waste be able to pass the examination of Zhenyao? Old teacher, did you make a mistake? Yi Junlai's smile gradually stiffened. The child's name is Yi Yanxi. Yi Wanting is here. The name was wrong? Yes, it must be so, it was a mistake? Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Right, they must have made a mistake, there was no way that trash could turn around. That's right. Zhang Baichuan smiled and said, I remember this face, classmate Yi Yanxi. Congratulations on your entry into Zhenyao with first place. You are the best student since the establishment of the school. I am proud to be able to send the admission letter to an excellent student like you. The audience exploded. First place in the entrance exam. The best student since the establishment of the school. Am I hallucinating? My God. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. The sound of the system rang out one by one. No matter how you looked at the contribution of everyone's awesomeness XP, they did not seem very happy. They must be unhappy. Such an incredible thing happened to this waste Yi Yanxi. No matter how you look at it, people felt all kinds of envy, jealousy and hatred, and were very unhappy. Yi Wanting stared fiercely at Yi Yanxi. The more she looked at her, the more uncomfortable she felt. Number 1? Just because she caught the drug dealer? If she was the one who caught the drug dealer, then this first place would definitely have been hers. However, why did this waste attract everyone's attention? She was not the only one admitted to Zhenyao. Yi Wanting took a step forward, grabbed Zhang Baichuan's sleeve, and asked with a smile, Teacher, then, did you also bring my admission notice? Yes, yes, Wanting's grades have always been good, she must have passed the exam too. Yi Junlai came to react, and eagerly exhorted. How could Yi Yanxi take the limelight today? Their Wanting should be the protagonist of today. Yi Wanting, Zhang Baichuan seemed to be thinking about something. Yes, it's Yi Wanting. Yi Junlai became more and more attentive. However, Zhang Baichuan took a serious look at Yi Wanting and hummed. You are Yi Wanting. You have been disqualified from Zhenyao's admission forever. What? The last 4 words like a heavy hammer hit the father and daughter hard on their heads, making their heads buzz. Cancelled forever. Why? What the hell did my daughter do to be disqualified from the competition forever? Does Zhenyao also accept bribes? Disqualified. If it wasn't for them taking bribes, he wouldn't believe why his excellent daughter would be disqualified forever. Zhang Baichuan said indifferently. Zhenyao serves the Imperial Military Academy. We need talents who can be cunning and insidious, but there is one thing that we must remember. You must never attack your own people. And Yi Wanting has been reported for robbing the credit of others while doing nothing. As she is like this now, in the future, it is inevitable that she will do whatever she can to win and may even betray her teammates. Disqualification. Yi Junlai felt dizzy for a while, permanently cancelled. It was impossible for his daughter to enter Zhenyao in this life. And Yi Wanting was trembling with rage. She looked at Yi Yunqi subconsciously, and how dazzling the engraving letter of admission in her hand was. Don't look at it, didn't I tell you? I've already figured it out for you. Yi Yunqi twitched the corners of her mouth. Her attitude was both arrogant and lazy. It made Yi Wanting shiver. She had said that Yi Wanting would never be able to pass the Zhenyao test in her life. The words that made her disdain were now ringing in her ears. She actually, really couldn't get into Zhenyao in this life. Yi Yunqi, oh my god, when director Zhang said character, did he mean Yi Wanting's character is not good? Getting credit for nothing? What happened during the exam? God knows, even this trash can win first place, while Yi Wanting was disqualified. This is definitely the most explosive topic this year. I guess it is also the first student in history to be disqualified because of poor character, right? Then the heir to the Yi family this year will definitely not be Yi Wanting. Who could it be? People looked at Yi Jianxing subconsciously. The old man's eyes were still as calm as water, and it seemed that he didn't pay attention to everything that happened just now. As expected of the old man, people secretly admired it, and the situation calmed down. It was no wonder that when the head of the family was in his prime, the Yi family ranked so high in the sword of the empire. If it weren't for the fact that no one in the younger generation could stand up, the Yi family would not have been squeezed out of the sword of the empire. Uncle, look at this heir. Yi Junlai looked at the old man with the following consciousness. If Yi Wanting was disqualified, did that mean that the children of their family could also move forward? Although their children were not as good as Wanting, at least they were better than trash, right? Now, everyone was looking forward to it. Today's family banquet was held to decide the heir, and Wanting was no longer qualified tonight, so would the new heir be them? Yi Jianxing stood up slowly with the help of Butler Wen. The old man was like a withered tree, which might collapse at any time, but he still said with full energy, everyone in my Yi family has a backbone. It's not for the sake of making a name for themselves. Our blood should be shed for the country, so the heir of my Yi family can only be the strong one in the family who is willing to lose even his body, no matter what. The old man's angry words made everyone present excited. Especially Zhang Baichuan, as an outsider, saw an old man say these words so pertinently, which made him admire him. However, the current sword of the empire was no longer like before. At that time, people were like Yi Jianxing, full of enthusiasm. Well now. So, the future heir of the Yi family will be Yi Yunqi. The audience were shocked. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. The system was screaming, handsome, my host is big. Awesomeness XP is blown up again, ha ha ha, cool. The old man had vision, heir, it should be given to his host. But others were restless. Yi Yunqi would inherit the Yi family? She also did well in Zhenyao's exam this time, right? Wasn't it too much of a joke to make her the heir of the entire family just based on this exam? Yi Junlai gritted his teeth and said, too rash. It's just an exam, what can it prove? It's really too flippant. Yi Yunqi's usual grades are not as good as our children's, is that okay? The rest of the people shouted. They had great opinions about Yi Yunqi. Until now, Yi Junpo and Yi Yunji had only slightly reacted. Yunqi really got the first place in Zhenyao's exam, and she even became the to-be heir of the Yi family. Heir! Yi Junpo's excited face contorted. Yi Yunji couldn't help but gasp for breath. God turned it around. What a surprise, ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. That's right, this family is all trash, how can she be the heir? We also feel unconvinced. Since Wanting can't do it, it's better to choose someone else in this family. Yi Yunqi frowned, then in a determined and assertive tone. If you are not convinced, then your children should also take the first place in Zhenyao's examination and are welcome to challenge me. Zhenyao had 100 years of history, and she was the well-deserved number one in the 100-year history. If you are not convinced, then come up with your skills. Ding! Plus 10, plus 10, plus 10. The awesomeness XP sounded in a string again, and the system was so happy. How many times did she swipe this in a day? People all looked at Yi Yanqi. Under the wrapping of Xingyi's long dress, the girl was like a winner who had the last laugh. She had enough posture to laugh at their failure. Although they had no strength, everyone was still very unhappy in their hearts, because the previous Yi Yanqi was too weak, and she really had no reputation. Seeing that there was a hint of an outbreak, Yi Jianxing, who had been silent for a while, suddenly stood up and said loudly, "I allow you to compare everything with her. If you can compare with her, I can re-evaluate everyone for the position of the heir." The majestic voice of the old man calmed everyone's restlessness. Yi Yanqi raised her eyebrows. Grandpa was helping her to convince the public? "Uncle, this is what you said, comparing everything with her? This piece of shit would definitely be compared, right?" The old man nodded angrily. "Yes, I said it." After speaking, he looked at Yi Yanqi. "Girl, can you compare?" "Oh, that's right. If you want to fight, then fight. I'm afraid of a ghost." This piece of shit was crazy. The crowd became even more turbulent. Who put Yi Yanqi in their eyes? Are we still afraid that we won't be able to abuse a single waist? That's right. That's too bad. During the quarrel, only Yi Jianxing twitched the corners of his mouth, and after a while, he said solemnly, "Since you have no objections, from today onwards, their family will move back to the Yi family mansion, and if anyone wants to take the position of heir, they will have to rely on their own abilities." This sentence blocked everyone's mouths. Now, Yi Yanqi won the position of heir based on her ability. Any one of them who had the ability could come and take it. However, they must qualify first in the Zhenyao exam. Even if they came second in the exam, they would be trampled under her feet. Shame. Yi Yanqi hooked the corners of her mouth, smiling wildly and beautifully. This air battle was beautiful. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully completing the mission. The Battle of the Heirs. Reward. 10,000 awesomeness XP. Plus 20 stamina, and successfully opened a new map. Yi Family Mansion. If it had arms and legs, the system really wanted to raise its arms and cheer for the host to celebrate. This was definitely the face of strength, and no one could surpass it. She was the first in the exam, how could anyone surpass? Or the best candidates in history, could they surpass it? You can't surpass even if you run and break your legs. There is a big gap between my host and you. Waste, the gap between genius, ha ha ha, cool, on their own merits? The person standing beside Yi Jianxing should be her. The position of heir should also be hers. Even Zhenyao's admission letter should be hers. This waste actually took all this away from her. Yi Wanting gritted her teeth, feeling more and more unhappy in her heart. "I still have a question." Yi Wanting looked at Yi Junpo, her eyes gloomy as ice. "I heard that the uncle is making a movie?" When he was named, Yi Junpo was slightly startled, and everyone in the family stared at him. Filming? Is he still obsessed with this? He didn't even think about why he was kicked out of the house in the first place. The mission of the family is to return to the sword of the empire as soon as possible. What's the matter with him filming? The difference? Everyone in the Yi family knows that it was because Yi Junpo insisted on filming that he had a big fight with Yi Jianxing and was kicked out of the family. Otherwise, even if Yi Junpo was a waste, at least he could stay at home without worrying about eating and drinking, unlike now, where he lived a tense life. So, Yi Yanqi is not qualified to be the heir, right? With such a father, where did she get the face to be the heir? It's going to have such an impact on his daughter. It was a good thing to inherit the family business, but if his daughter missed this opportunity because of him, he would blame himself for the rest of his life. Before he could speak, Yi Yanqi had already taken a step forward, standing arrogantly in front of everyone. "Shut up!" With a scolding, everyone quieted down, because it sounded too gloomy. "I am the heir of the Yi family, and I will take care of the future of the Yi family. This has nothing to do with my father. Whether he is filming or doing nothing, it has nothing to do with all of you and the future of this family." With a gloomy tone and arrogant attitude, dark eyes looked down. Everyone watching subconsciously averted their eyes and closed their mouths. This waste was so powerful, it doesn't matter. Yi Wanting was still unrelenting. Today, she had lost face here, so she also wanted to make Yi Yanqi lose face. But everyone knows that uncle has never filmed at all. If he becomes popular, he will give face to the clan leader. If he does not become popular, then he will embarrass the entire Yi family. For the sake of the family, uncle should change his decision of filming as soon as possible. Yeah, what was he filming anyway? It was better to stay at home and be a rice bug. Did he think he was a big name or a famous director? Had anyone seen what he had filmed? It was okay for him to busy yourself, but he shouldn't embarrass the Yi family. Yi Junpo's face became very ugly. He didn't expect that he would still be humiliated this time when he came back. What happened with filming? This was his dream. Even if he left his home and was penniless, he still had a dream that must be fulfilled. What right did they have to say that about him? The more Yi Junpo thought about it, the more uncomfortable he felt. He really didn't want to stay in this place for a moment. However, Yi Yanqi said lightly, "You don't need to worry about it. I'll also give my dad a hand. This movie will definitely be a hit." Under the bright lights, the girl's unfathomable smile, her confident and determined look, she seemed to have already won the ticket. Ding, +10 +10 +10. At this moment when the awesomeness XP burst out, the system was excited. Great host. Cool. Absolute fire. Ha, who do you think you are? Yi Wanting thought it was ridiculous. Who dared say these words to her face? Hey, I think you should believe it. After all, what I've calculated for you has come true, hasn't it? Yi Yanqi casually untangled her long hair, and her dark eyes fell on Yi Wanting with a smile that was not a smile. She had figured out that Yi Wanting would never be able to pass the Junyao test in her life. These words were like a curse. This thought suddenly appeared in Yi Wanting's mind. She was so angry that this bastard was humiliating her again. By the way, I also plan to build a studio for my father. In the future, filming will be his official job. Anyway, there is an heir. Why can't he do what he likes? Keep making noise. Is their family rich? Isn't a lot of money required for filming? Can it really be filmed? I heard that Yi Junpo borrowed a lot of money, and the Heish Club came to collect the debt a few days ago. It's gone. The Yi family won't be smashed by him, right? It can't go on like this. Seeing everyone's reaction getting stronger and stronger, Yi Wanting became happy. This was what she wanted. If the heir couldn't do it, then no one could do it. Seeing that the scene seemed uncontrollable, Yi Yanqi frowned, and she looked at Yi Jianxing subconsciously. This white-haired grandfather had actually closed his eyes and seemed to be taking a nap. He had no intention of getting involved. Oh, what, are you going to give her the rights of an heir now? That's right, there are 3 fires when the new official takes office. She had just become the heir, and her position had not yet been warmed up. If she did not show the status of the heir, how would she give orders to move this group of superlative relatives in the future? Yi Yanqi hooked the corner of her mouth. She was used to being a soldier in her previous life. Although the promotion was a good thing, it should be hanged. Otherwise, how could one lead the team? She narrowed her eyes and looked at the second uncle's family. Since it was you who are picking things up, let's make a cut on you. Since I can move back to my home, then, second uncle, you have to make room. Yi Yanqi fiddled with her long hair lazily, her black eyes getting deeper and deeper. Yi Junlai groaned in his heart, and subconsciously looked at Yi Jianxing. The old man was actually taking a nap. But have we been living in our own house? Yi Junlai gritted his teeth. The family home has always only been for the head of the family and the heir. Second uncle, it doesn't matter if you don't like me, or if you want to grab my position, you are welcome to come and find fault in secret, but that home is not a place for you to live. At that moment, Yi Junlai's face contorted. This was blowing them away. Damn, his daughter didn't get the position of the heir, and they had to be blasted away in front of everyone's eyes. This Yi Yanqi, uncle, grandpa is sleeping. Second uncle should not disturb the old man. I am the master of this matter. I will move it today, and we will move back to our home early tomorrow morning. After she finished speaking, she glanced at him with a smile. Yi Wanting, as expected, Her complexion was extremely difficult to see. But Yi Yanxi wasn't finished, she still said. Wanting, the 2 curses I gave you have been fulfilled. How is it, right? Yi Yanxi, Yi Wanting was about to explode. In less than half a month, you will get out of Yi family home. Where did she get out of the Yi family home? She was now being kicked out of the Yi family home. Damn trash. You have come to go against me. Yi Wanting was furious. But Yi Junlai knew very well that at today's family banquet, their heads had been completely stepped on. System. +10 +10 plus brilliant plus. Everything that they had calculated went in vain. But Yi Yanxi made great progress all the way, and even kicked them out of the gate of the Yi family. It was useless to say anything today. The old man obviously didn't care. Everything was a foregone conclusion. Yi Junlai gritted his teeth and said, Wanting's legs aren't healed yet. Since the heir is decided, then we won't wait any longer. After speaking, he pulled Yi Wanting up, turned around and left. Dad, why should we go, Dad? I'm going to tear that trash's mouth off. Let's go. Yi Junlai's face was so gloomy since he had to leave today like a lost dog. One day in the future, he would definitely get back. Since the second uncle has no objections, which one of you still has objections? Yi Yanxi pinched her waist with one hand and stood arrogantly in front of the main seat. The luxurious Xinglong dress looked like a sky full of stars, making her whole person look like a little bit of stars, which was extremely dazzling. These people could see that Yi Yanxi was asking them what they wanted. She was simply bringing Yi Junlai down to operate against Yi Wanting. By the way, also letting them know that she was the heir of the Yi family. If you have objections, you have to hold her back. This move was simply killing chickens and warning monkeys. Now, in the banquet hall, no one dared to say a word. Yi Junlai came and fled. So what were they? Since there is no objection, the family banquet will continue. She turned her head indifferently, stood in front of the old man, and whispered, Grandfather, wake up. Eat something before going to bed. Yi Jianxing, who pretended to be asleep, moved his eyelids, then he opened his eyes like a child and wondered, Hey, did I fell asleep? Yi Yanxi wanted to roll her eyes. Hee, you really haven't slept. You were really just pretending to be asleep. But even so, Yi Jianxing looked very happy. Hey, where's your second uncle? Yi Jianxing asked deliberately. He went back to pack up. Tomorrow he has to make room for me and Dad. Oh, yes, the family home is originally reserved for the owner and heir. The old man's words completely confirmed Yi Yanxi's position. For the rest of the people, you look at me, I look at you, and no one dared to make trouble. On the other side of the fourth uncle, there was a young man who was yawning, while resting his chin on one hand, as he stared lazily at the beautiful girl who seemed to contain the galaxy. Yi Yanxi, interesting. The family banquet had lots of ups and downs. Even when they saw the clothes that Yi Junpo and his family were wearing, not many people laughed. At first, they thought it was just a clown jumping on the beam in a dragon robe, but at the end they were surprised to find that they were indeed the royal family. Heir, Yi Yanxi was the heir, after all. The might of the Yi family returned to Yi Jianxing's hands. No, it was in the hands of the heir. Big brother, it's still your ability. Yanxi is really good. In the future, you will have to help your brother. Yes, brother, I always thought that you can do it. No problem. When the movie is released, I will definitely go see it, Jo. When the air changed, the third uncle and fifth uncle also followed the wind, and started surrounding Yi Junpo with incomparable attentiveness, while toasting him. Yi Junpo felt uneasy, as whoever badmouthed and put them down previously, had now come back to please them. But the third uncle and the fifth uncle didn't care, they were still close together, who could call them two-faced? After eating, everyone dispersed. This time Yi Junpo didn't take a taxi, because Butler Wen personally called the Yi family's car and sent them back in person. Zhang Baichuan was left by Yi Jianxing to entertain alone. Because he desperately wanted to know what Yi Yanxi did to get the first place in the exam. Until returning home, Yi Yunji still had the illusion that he was dreaming. Dad, I just had a dream that Yunshi became the heir. Yi Junpo raised his head and took a deep breath. Should I pinch you, to make you believe that it really happened? Yi Yunji, his emotions were out of control, he thought he was dreaming? Yi Yunji suddenly didn't want to pay attention to him. He decided to ask his sister directly. Yunshi, you really got the first place in the exam? First place in Zhenyao's entrance exam, was it real or fake? Yi Yunshi shook the notice and transcript in her hand. She hadn't opened it yet. Yi Yunji hurriedly grabbed it and opened the notice first. The big gilded characters on it almost shook Yi Yunji's big eyes. OMG, it was true. Yunshi actually got admitted to Zhenyao. No, but how did she pass the test? What topic did Zhenyao take this year? Why did Yi Wanting lose the qualification, but Yunshi actually passed the exam? It felt a little unrealistic. Then he took the transcript, and the same bright first-place characters caused Yi Yunji's titanium alloy eyes to suffer a second degree of damage. What the hell, he thought he was going blind, but it was actually the first place. Yunshi, you really gave our family face. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. Yunshi, what exactly was Zhenyao's exam topic this time? Yi Junpo was still in a trance. He felt so unreal. With his daughter's grades, how could she have won the first place? And it was even Zhenyao's first position. Those who came to take the exam were all elites from various schools. Although he didn't want to destroy the prestige of his own family, Yi Junpo really couldn't believe it. Oh, by coincidence, we had to catch drug dealers in this competition, and our team looked up and saw someone. Yi Junpo and Yi Yunji, was this a piece of shit luck? The person you are looking for is right in front of you. There could really be nothing more fortunate than this. Okay, Yi Junpo was relieved. It turned out this is how she got the first place. Good luck was also a kind of strength. Ding. Awesomeness XP plus 10. Seeing that the two of them no longer doubted her, Yi Yunshi breathed a sigh of relief. She couldn't say that the soul had been replaced in this shell, right? Dad, when will the filming start? When you come back to school, but what you said is so good. Dad really doesn't have the confidence to make this film well. Ding. Trigger task. Make the movie a hit. Please help Yi Junpo to release the new movie perfectly. The reward value is based on the movie's final release popularity. Yi Yunshi. System, you really refuse to let me take a breath. The host is great. The system firmly believes that you will be able to complete the task perfectly. Love you so much. The system seemed to have incarnated a little fangirl as it gave her a passionate kiss. What is the maximum reward you can give me? It was okay to let her do the task, but if the reward was just a little bit, it was better for her not to do it. The upper limit of awesomeness XP is 50,000, and the upper limit of physical strength is 50. 50 physical strength. She now had 32 points of physical strength, and her physical condition had just reached the passing line of the 400 test. With another 50 points of physical strength, maybe 800 meters could also be a full score. In that case, she should barely be able to adapt to Zhenyao's practice intensity, right? She still needed to earn a little more physical strength. Understood. It seemed that the studio had to be put on the agenda. If there was no studio, where could she go to stir up the heat? Just as she was thinking, a text message sounded from her mobile phone. She opened the phone and glanced at it. In the text message sent by D. Jung-si, he wrote a few words in a short and succinct manner. Congratulations, victory is on its way. Yi Yunshi couldn't help twitching the corners of her mouth. Thanks for the clothes, send the card number, and the money will be returned to you. Seeing this message, D. Jung-si couldn't help frowning. Was this little thing always so bluntly distancing herself from people? Just pay for the meat. Ding, peach value plus 10. Yi Yunshi. After waiting for a while and getting no response from Yunshi, D. Jung-si had no choice but to say, we'll go home to see my parents and you'll need those clothes. That's what he meant, but going to his house was definitely not like coming to her own. After all, with the status of the emperor's family, it was normal for them to look down on her. But it didn't matter, there were many people in this world who looked down on her. Yi Yunshi, she didn't have so much effort to please everyone one by one. Furthermore, it was more convenient to speak with strength. After making up her mind, Yi Yanqi calmly hooked the corner of her mouth and replied, "After going to your house, the filming will officially start." After coming back from practice the next morning, the family started packing. If it wasn't for the fact that the heir had to go back to the family home, Yi Junpo really didn't want to move back. However, he didn't want to leave his daughter alone at home. Yi Junpo knew exactly what his father was like. He was stubborn and paranoid, and he was very determined. He couldn't let his old stubborn father hurt Yanqi. "Dad, you go back to your home first. I have something to do today, so I'll go back tonight." "Okay, do you want to go out with your classmates?" They were at most teammates. She was going to meet the people of the emperor's family today. She didn't know what the pomp will be. It was not easy to change clothes at home, so Yi Yanqi went downstairs with her bag on her back. Di Junxia's car was just parked at the entrance of the alley, and the man was, as usual, leaning on the door and waiting quietly. The sun shone brightly on the man, and the domineering and cold-hearted aura seemed to be melted into his blood. Even if he was just standing, the scalp of the person seeing someone so terrifying could go numb. "Get in the car." The condensed voice was low and sweet, and when Yi Yanqi sat in, she could smell the faint scent of tobacco. "We'll start filming when we're done." Di Junxi glanced at her, and his cold facial features were still unparalleled, deceiving everyone to his true nature. This person was really difficult to read what he was thinking, and she couldn't guess whether he was angry or happy. The car drove into the villa area on the outskirts of the city and parked in front of a villa. Yi Yanqi changed her clothes and straightened her hair before walking out slowly. The long Xing dress outlined her perfect figure, the collarbone outlined the beautiful ups and downs, and the black hair slid over her shoulders, like fine silk brushing rare jade. The girl's beautiful face was even more gorgeous, with deep black eyes, red lips with a smile. Even without any makeup, she looked charming and moving. Di Junxi looked at her with satisfaction. She had a straight posture, outstanding temperament, and her etiquette of the upper class was just right, as if it had been integrated into this girl's bones and blood. She was like a thorny rose during fighting, but now she was like a peony in full bloom in a greenhouse, graceful and luxurious. "I said, I won't make you feel ashamed of me." Yi Yanqi smiled slightly and hooked his arm lightly. Their warm bodies came close, bringing a faint fragrance to him. The black hair was close at hand, and the breeze was blowing, revealing a white jade-like face. Di Junxi found that he really didn't hate it, whether it was this person or close contact with her. And it felt so good to hold her close. Beauty in Chinese clothes, they complemented each other. "Young Emperor." Butler Zeng came out to greet him, subconsciously glanced at Yi Yanqi, and then his eyes lit up. Although she was still the young lady from last time, her school uniform had changed into a dress, and her temperament had become graceful and noble. Standing beside the emperor, the two looked inexplicably matched. "Master is already waiting inside." He led them in, and on the sofa, Di Wei heard the movement and glanced over. The petite girl was wearing a luxurious dress, and her beautiful figure was undoubtedly revealed. Her attitude was neither humble nor arrogant. She did not have the flattery and squeamishness of those young ladies in the past, nor was she too arrogant. She could be said to be calm and graceful. Di Wei was a little surprised. How could a person's temperament change so much in just a few days? Seeing it like this, she seemed to be worthy of his Junxi. However, this was only on the surface. Wasn't she still a grassroots lady? "Little girl, even if Junxi likes you, I don't think you can enter this door. You are not worthy of my grandson." Yi Yanqi raised her eyebrows. Last time at least it was more subtle, but this time it was so direct. Although it is only a contractual relationship with Di Junxi, she really didn't like this kind of attitude. Yi Yanqi smiled. "Then may I ask, how can I be considered worthy?" Di Wei thought for a while. Was there any need to ask? Just identity alone could kill you. "I heard that you were expelled from the heir position, and you were also expelled from your own family. That is incompetence, and you are not worthy of my family's Junxi." Yi Yanqi hooked the corner of his mouth. "Yes, sir, your news may be a little blocked. At last night's family banquet, the new heir who has been chosen, Unfortunately is me, Yi Yunqi. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. What? Di Wei was stunned for a moment. This girl sat on the heir position of the Yi family again? Just yesterday. Why did no one give him the news? Let him lose such an important opportunity. The old man's face was a little ugly, but he still said, This is not considered up to the mark. In short, your grades are also very poor. The gap between the two of you is too big, and you are not compatible. So old man, you are worried about this. Yi Yunqi ticked her long hair, smiling. You don't have to worry about it. I just won the first place in the entrance exam with the best grades in the history of Zhenyao School. I think such grades, even in your imperial family, are not that many can win personally. Yi Yunqi smiled confidently and beautifully. Even in the face of the head of the Di family, she was still no less impressive. Ding! Awesomeness XP plus 10. Di Wei's liver hurt. It seemed that the intelligence officer of the Di family should be replaced. All the information given to him was old information. It made him lose such an important personality. Di Wei was speechless, because he couldn't find anything wrong at all. This girl now had the needed identity, ability, and she even had the temperament. He felt a little embarrassed. Did this make him admit it? There were no doors. Di Wei gave Butler Zeng a look, and Master Zeng said, Master, lunch is ready. Then let's eat, girl, you are so good, let's have a meal together. He said this and laughed. Yi Yunqi smiled, but her intuition told her that this old man would definitely find fault with her while eating. Sure enough, Yi Yunqi knew what this man was going to do as soon as they got to the dining table. The top ingredients on a table were all things that would test people. Crabs, with their shells on, would cause you to be full of fishy smells if you don't pay attention. The whole fish was full of small bones, and removing the bones alone was the ultimate test. The chicken wishbone had no meat and you can't get started without a knife and fork. Was this the rhythm of the end of the world? The dishes on the table were really well intentioned. Yi Yunqi narrowed her eyes and smiled. Yunqi, sit down and eat. Eat as much as you want, don't be restrained. Di Wei sat down slowly. He deliberately let someone bring a crab over, took out 8 crabs himself, and looked at Yi Yunqi while fiddling and smiled. Eat, you're welcome. Grandfather. Di Junqi's voice was low. He knew that his grandfather was obviously trying to make Yi Yunqi look bad. However, the petite girl gently held down Di Junqi's arm, with a faint smile on her lips, and sat down calmly. The elder invited me. How can I not eat it? It will look too rude. It was just a meal. Are you afraid I won't be able to do it? Yi Yunqi smiled more and more calmly, and the whole person revealed her confidence, like an invincible general. Seeing her like this, the light in Di Junqi's eyes grew even brighter, and he subconsciously hooked the corner of his mouth as he sat beside Yi Yunqi. This little girl had the courage to fight against his grandfather? Looking at Di Wei's face again, it was really hard to see the extreme. The emperor wanted to laugh evilly. Grandfather asked for it all by himself. He insisted on giving Yunqi troubles. But what impressed him even more was Yi Yunqi, who was his grandfather. The head of the emperor's family, a soldier who participated in the war. Everyone in the country of Yan had to give him 3 points of respect, but when it came to Yunqi, he had to face defeat. He hadn't seen such a confident woman for a long time. Ding! Peach value plus 10. Think about the young ladies in the family. They all had the same attitude towards grandfather. They kept flattering his grandfather. They could be so sweet to the heart of the heart. However, he only thought that those women were disgusting. But he was curious now, what would Yunqi do? He looked over subconsciously, but saw Yi Yunqi smilingly pushing a crab in front of him. His dark eyes flickered, bright as the stars, and the emperor's evil breath slightly stagnated. Dear, I want to eat crabs. Di Junqi. Well, he knew what this little woman was going to do. She didn't do anything, instead she let him do it. Looking at the crab, and then at the smiling little woman, Di Junqi laughed angrily again. Should he applaud this little girl for making a good move, or should he pinch her little face? You, what are you doing? Before Di Junqi could start, Di Wei couldn't help but get angry. This was his grandson, he was serving others to eat crabs? Did something go wrong? Eat. Yi Yanqi pursed her lips, and even smiled elegantly. Junxi has always been like this. He is the gentlest and best boyfriend I have ever met. Hearing that, the emperor suddenly became wickedly willing. He didn't want to pinch the little woman's face, he wanted to pinch the crab. What? Di Wei covered his chest and twitched. His incomparably precious grandson actually served an unknown woman for dinner. He had always been like this. Junxi, your dignity as the heir of the first family, where did it go? Why is Grandpa so angry? Isn't it normal between lovers? The corner of Yi Yanqi's mouth twitched slightly. Grandfather, what other tricks do you have? Do it if you don't feel sorry for your own grandson. System. Di Wei. Admit defeat. Raise the flag for my host. Ah. After swallowing the heart-calming pill, Di Wei suddenly realized that this woman was so powerful. No wonder Di Junxi was so committed to her. Where was this an ordinary girl? This was simply a refined girl, the one with the highest combat level.